Record. All right, Alex, welcome to the podcast. Can you introduce yourself to the people here?
Yeah, my name is Alex Felice. I cannot define myself easily because I would be offended if I put myself in a box, but I am an active real estate investor. I am a prolific content creator. I spend a little time in the military. I spend a little time in banking, world traveler, and a photographer. Do a little bit of everything.
Banking. Yeah, that's are you talking about when you say banking, or you mean like you doing your syndication stuff?
No, I mean, I spent 10 years in retail and commercial banking, specifically a lot of it in small business underwriting.
Actually, really? I didn't know that about you.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. So let's start from the beginning, right? What were you like as a child, right? When you were growing up, what was your family like? And what was your environment looking like?
Never been close to my family, still not. We look at the world differently. We explain the world differently. We understand the world differently. They're fantastic people. They provided me with stability, which is one of the most important things that a family can provide for you. But other than that, we just never really learned how to communicate well and still don't. But that's okay. It could have been far worse. But I got into 18 and I was like, bro, I got to get that F out of here. This is not the place for me. I want out. So it was something like in July, I graduated high school. In August, I turned 18. In October, it was 2001.
Yeah.
So it was August, I turned 18. September 11th happened a month later. And then October 25th, I was in boot camp.
Nice. And you joined the army, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And before that, right, when you were a kid, is there anything that you wanted to be while you were growing up as a kid? This is before high school.
I wanted to be famous, I thought.
Famous. Okay.
Yeah, I had no real goals. I was apathetic and arrogant. I thought because I thought that I was special and valuable, that the world would figure it out and just hand me success. And when you think that you're good, you don't actually realize that you're not that good. Yeah. And then you're not working on the things that you need to work on because you already think you're good. And you think the world's going to figure it out. And the world, let me tell you, I'm dead certain about this. The world is not going to figure it out. You have to go work extraordinarily hard to convince people, often one by one.
And did you still have that same thought in high school? Like while
No, I didn't break that till I was about 30.
Oh, see? And what were you doing? What was your experience in high school leading to your graduation, I guess?
Apathetic, didn't try very hard, didn't have a big social circle. I was on the bottom of the social hierarchy. Yeah. You got to remember, I'm 5'6" and I'm bulky and work out now, I know how to carry myself now, but I was a timid 120-pound scrawny pain in the ass. And so I got bullied. I got a bunch of black eyes. Didn't go to prom, didn't play any sports, like really did not connect with people until, so I just wasted my entire high school. So that's part of the reason why I joined the army. I was like, I'm gotta do something else.
That's really interesting because you're like the total opposite of what you were. Like you're a total network guy right now. Mm-hmm. And when it led to so did 9/11 lead you to joining the military, or was it?
Yeah, they're like, okay, we need bodies. We're gonna go to war.
And how did since you weren't close to your family, you're like, okay, it doesn't matter what they think. I'll just go ahead and do it.
Yeah, I mean, I wanted away from them. So
okay,
the fact that I didn't realize at the time, and they didn't realize at the time, and they still don't really understand it. But some people are deeply rebellious.
Yeah,
and there's a measuring. We'll talk about it more and more. But there's personality tests that you can take that are like sort of pseudoscience, but they're sort of useful. One of them is called the Big Five, and you can measure your agreeableness. And some people score very high on agreeableness, and they're easy to get along with, but they don't often get what they want in life because they just go along with the flow too much. Sometimes to their own detriment. Sometimes they know it. And then there's people like me who are highly disagreeable, and I am going to do things in the opposite way of the way you want me to do them because you want me to do it some way. And I don't care. It's built into me. And so when my parents are like, we don't want you to leave. And I'm like, great, now I'm leaving.
And what were you doing in the military while you were in there? What was your job? How was it? How was your experience?
They just needed me. They needed somebody, a spot to fill. So I joined, and I ended up doing radio communications, which was not a really great fit for me. Yeah. But it didn't really matter. I was lucky enough that I got attached to a Green Beret unit right out right out of jump school. And so I did my first tour in Afghanistan with 3rd Special Forces Group downrange in Kabul.
Nice.
So it was very enlightening to hang out with guys that were doing those sort of missions.
Now, what got you to leave the military? Because a lot of people, they get what is called stock bodied or Stockholm syndrome, where they just stay in the military because they feel like that's the only thing that they have left, or
complacency.
Yeah. And what made you want to like leave the military?
Complacency is the worst thing that you can do. Complacency is like, it's like the opposite of, it compounds in the same way interest compounds. So the more that you indulge in your complacency, the more likely that you are going to continue to indulge in your complacency. And then it's harder and harder to break out. It's like a relationship that you want to get out of, but you've been in it for 7 years. It's like, dude, you should have bailed long ago. Now it's just every day that you don't leave that relationship, every day that you're in a job that you hate, that you won't leave, every time you're doing something that you hate, that you won't change, every day that you do it is a day that you, well, first you die a little bit inside, and then it's harder to break out. You get used to it. So it gets harder to get out every day. So I was in the Army and I wasn't having that good a time. In the beginning, it was fun, but by the end, I was like, okay, I was an apathetic loser. And then I got they gave me a lot of confidence. And so now I'm like, the Army is not a meritocratic system. You don't get paid or promoted for working harder or doing better. It's just, what do they call it? Time and grade.
Yeah.
Seniority.
And
so I was like, I'm bailing.
You're bailing. Oh, David, you got a question. Go ahead.
Yeah. Did the Army change you in any way? Like mentally?
Yeah.
How so?
You know, the Army, like, all right, the key to life is the key to your success is breaking out of comfort zones. That's really what it comes down to. The more you believe you can do, the more you can do. And so the way that you learn how to believe in what you do is by doing things that you're scared of doing. And you want to do that incrementally, consistently. And the bigger the stretches you can go, the better off you're going to be. The more things you can look at your life and you're like, okay, I'm scared of these things. And then you can go do them. The more you're going to be like, oh, I'm scared of things that I can do. What else am I not doing that I'm scared of? Right? Does that make sense? So like, what are your dreams? Your dreams are limited by what you think you can accomplish. And so the more that you think you can accomplish, the bigger your dreams get. And then when you have confidence that you can do them, you'll find out real quick, you're like, you can get a lot done in life if you just believe, like, not just say you believe, but like act like you believe. And so what the Army does is it's like, oh, are you scared of loud noises? We're going to put you by some. So you realize that you can handle the loud noises. You're afraid of heights. Guess what? We're going to drop you out of this airplane. I jumped out of airplanes, helicopters, fucking Chinooks. Oh, can I swear? I'm so sorry.
No, you can swear. Yeah, you can swear all about it.
Chinooks. I jumped with equipment. I jumped at night. You know what I mean? Like, I'm still afraid of heights, but now I learned how to deal with it. People are afraid of guns. It's like, go around being some guns. You're afraid of blood? You're gonna see some blood.
Yeah.
Are you afraid of basic training? Good, go do it. Like, what it teaches you is that what I thought was really scary, the Army, was like kind of easy. And so then when I start to approach new tasks in life, and I'm like, okay, I already know that seems scarier than it really is. And when I get there, it won't be that bad. So I get a leg up because I walk in the door and I'm like, okay, I can buy apartment buildings. I can start a podcast. I can, do this event. I can go work with that guy. I can call that person and they'll take my call. Or I know that if I can get in front of that person, they'll find me valuable. Like, I just look at it and go, whatever I'm scared of, I know that there was a million things that were scarier that turned out to be mundane. So most fear is just you're making something out of it that it's not. And so the Army teaches you how to do all these things, how to ruck 12 miles with a pack and a gun and sleep overnight and like get tear gassed. And it's just, and succeed. Now,
when you did leave the military, Alex, what was your thoughts? Like, once you got your DD-214, was it? What did you do right after? Did you just try to do banking?
Is that what straight up, bro? I went right back into apathy. Like, it sounds messed up, but the Army wasn't the full change. The Army was just like a piece of it.
Yeah.
I didn't have my life figured out yet by any means. It would take another, like 5 years. So I ended up selling cars.
Okay.
Which,
man, you did a lot of things.
Yeah, I've done a lot. Yeah. I ended up selling cars for a couple of years and I was good at it. And I was scared of it. I was like, I don't think I can talk to people. Could you imagine me saying that?
Yeah.
Right. I don't think I can talk to people. And then I ended up being really good at it because I went there and I did it. And I was like, okay, but the guy who was at the dealership I was going to go to the dealership because I knew a guy that worked there, and I was like, I'm going to go turn wrenches because I'm a car guy. So I was like, I liked working on cars, so I'm gonna go turn wrenches, even though I was never that good at being at turning wrenches. And he's like, dude, you don't need to turn wrenches. You need to sell cars. You'll make more money, and you're good with people, and you just don't know it yet. And so I tried it. You talk to some people, and you're like, oh my god, people are great. You know what? You go up, you talk to them, you're nice to them, they're nice back. It all works out. Everybody needs to learn how to sell because everybody is in sales, whether they care, want to be, know it. Everybody's in sales in one form or another, and you're selling. Right now, I'm selling Alex, right? I'm providing value. I'm solving problems. I'm providing a service. Like it's sales. Sales is solving problems. And so you need to come to somebody and be like, I'm not giving you something. I'm solving one of your problems. And when you learn how to talk to people about what's good for them and how to make their life better, right? Whether it's selling them a car, which is not really making anybody's life better, but they think it is in the moment, whatever it is, you learn how to address people's problems. You learn how to talk to people under pressure, which is incredibly hard. You learn how to tell people difficult truths like, bro, you cannot afford this car. I don't care how much you want to impress your girlfriend. You can't afford it. So sorry. I'm not even telling you it's good advice. I mean, the bank will literally not give you the money for this. You cannot afford it. But you got to get used to having those difficult conversations. And it's the same exact thing. Like once you have a difficult conversation with a stranger about money, and sometimes in front of their family, awkward conversations, guess what? Now I can do it. Now it's fearless. Now I'm fearless about it. So it was sort of a dead end. I didn't save any money. I didn't get any equitable skills. I don't have anything to show for it, but I do have this soft talent that carried with me forever.
Now, what are some ways that you can, guys here can learn about how to like get into sales or like, is there any
Go
books
get your real estate license.
And okay, what about the guys that don't even want to do real estate, right? And we'll get to that soon. But
is there? Look, I don't know how you want to do it, but like everybody should go do sales.
Okay.
For a little while, a year, 2 years, like everybody should go do sales. It's annoying, it's frustrating, it's scary. If you're scared of it, you're like, I don't want to do that. It's like you're the one that needs to do it the most.
Now, you said that you believe that whenever you have fear, right? It's the best way to like basically level yourself up as a human being, Alex. So
yeah, I mean, there's phobia and there's fear. Phobias are uncurable. Phobias are like heights, or like my dad has a fear of flying. It's like irrational. He just can't, he has a fear of mechanical failure. There's things, phobias can't be cured, but fear is fake, right? It's just like something you haven't experienced yet. Fear of the unknown. That's what you got to be careful of. You're like, I don't want to do sales. It's like, have you done it? No. It's like, then you don't know. What are you saying? You're just afraid, which is fine. But like, you're not going to get super far in life by not doing what you're afraid of, because like, I don't know how to say it. There's a multiple different ways I could say it, but like you're competing against other people for every opportunity. And like somebody's going to be less afraid of you and they're just going to scoop your opportunity up. And that's just what's going to happen. Somebody's going to go in there and be like, I'm not afraid. I'm not as afraid, or I'll fake it, or I'll try. And so you have to get used to being okay with being a little afraid. And you don't have to do it all at once. You don't have to go do these like, I'm going to go skydiving so much as like find out what you're afraid of and then find out how to move towards it a little bit. Controlled chaos, in Taoist culture, the yin and the yang, right? It's 1 foot in order and 1 foot in chaos.
Now, whenever you talk about people, right, is there any misunderstanding that people have when it comes to like networking with other people that from your experience?
Many.
Can you name some off the bat?
People think of networking as something separate from friendship, right? Like networking. Are you and I are we network acquaintances, or are we friends?
We're friends.
Boom. Right. That's why it's valuable. That's why you can text me and say, hey, you want to come on a podcast, and get a yes, right? Because we're friends. But like, okay, now what's our relationship? What would it be different if I said we were just networking acquaintances? How would that be different?
It would put like a wall between us.
Right? No, be specific. What would that look like, the wall?
Kind of awkward, right? It's like only business related, I guess, right?
You wouldn't call and ask for anything.
Yeah. Right.
And so like networking, when people think about networking, they think about like if you think about it like a chore, then you're doing it wrong. So the two things I'll say is approach it like a friendship. Like when I network, dude, you want to tell you my superpower for networking?
Yeah, go ahead.
Nobody in the whole world does this. I do this all the time. And it's like, it's easy, it's cheap, it's simple, right? The problem is that it's incredibly hard if you don't have the right personality for it, but it works. I wake up at 7 a.m. and I go through my Rolodex and I talk to people who I haven't talked to in months, and I just text them completely selflessly. And I'm like, hey, I hope you have a great Thursday. I'm thinking about you. I don't need anything. Be well.
Isn't that what Ronald Reagan does as well? Does he have like a flashcards? Ronald Reagan?
No idea.
because I heard it once, like you get like a deck of flashcards, right? You pull out 5 and you're just like, hey, name these, just call these people. And what does that lead you to do though? Once you do call them or like text them?
Networking is, I should write this down. Like networking is about friends. Networking is about long-term. That's what people don't get. They're like, what's in it for me? It's not about what's in it for you. It's like a friendship. If you go to a friendship and you're like, what's in it for me? It's like, that's not a freaking friend. So you have to find people that you actually like and care about and think about. And then when you think about it and you text them and you're like, I'm thinking about you. And now you tell me, if I text you and I'm like, hey bro, that was great. I hope you're doing well. Let me know how I can help, whatever. I don't need anything. And I text you that once every 3 months, like 5 years, what's going to happen in 5 years?
You're pretty close.
We're close, but also like, dude, what kind of opportunities am I going to run into that now I'm thinking of you? Or what time opportunities are you going to run into that you're thinking about me? Like, it just puts people in your social circle. It puts you, here's what goes. I don't invest in real estate ever. I invest in people. And so the real estate in people that I'm investing in is here in their brain. I want to be top of mind. I want you to wake up and you're like, oh, Alex, that guy. Oh, that made me think of Alex. Oh, I saw a Taleb quote. That made me think of Alex. Oh, I heard about the army, or I thought about this. I thought about that. Like we did when this podcast. Oh, that episode with Alex, blah, blah, blah. I want to be top of mind. I'm investing here, bro. And so when you're like, hey, I have a multifamily deal in Fayetteville, who are you going to call? Alex, bro. That's who you know.
That blows my mind because there's a lot of people that, that would question like what makes a relationship like with a friend, right? What makes a good friend? How do you know if they're a good friend, basically? And they're not just trying to, I guess, use you, because I guess a lot of these high schoolers,
don't worry about it.
Right?
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because
it doesn't matter.
Do you question me and my motives? Right. So then I'm not thinking about it because I don't do anything inauthentic. So when I'm texting people, it's not for I'm not doing it because I'm going to get something out of them in 5 years. I'm like, dude, these are my friends. And I want them to know that I want their lives to be better. So here you go. Here's something that might make your fucking Friday better. Thinking about you, saw your show saw you on Facebook and I resonated with what you said. Just want to let you know that you're a positive influence for the world. Thank you for being you. Send. And just be genuine about it. And then one day, Mindy Jensen calls you and she's like, hey, I'm going to have you on the Bigger Pockets podcast because you're amazing.
Now, is there, I know you and me, right? We go to these meetings, right? And these like groups, and you ever there's people that don't care about you, right? Or sure. There's like those fakes out there.
Sure.
What do you say to those? Because there's a lot of like, I guess, people that are growing up, right? They're like, hey, I got to network. I got to talk to people, right? At least make friends with them, right? How do you take one virus? How do you get rid of a virus, basically? Someone that doesn't have the best interest for you.
I just don't spend any time. I just don't spend time on that. Like if somebody's coming to me and like, okay, first off, I have an unbelievable BS detector.
Okay. What is it? Like, how does that work? I know my BS detector, how it works. If they give me a business card first, before it even asks for my name, I'm like, okay, that's a no-go.
Well, no, I just mean like mine's like I have an innate, I'm just good at it.
Okay.
It's just one of those things where like, I can just tell if somebody's lying. I can tell if they're lying to themselves. They might believe their own bullshit. Right. It's just what I'm good at. And so like, I recommend everybody, if you have a good BS detector, like it's a huge, my girlfriend calls it my suspicious eyes. I'm looking at somebody like, that's bullshit. Okay. Okay. It doesn't matter because you're going to act the way you want to act, the way you want to act. If you're worried that somebody's not if you're worried that somebody's not being genuine, like nobody can take anything away from me that I'm not willing to give.
Yeah.
So if they're like, oh, they're trying to use you, I'm like, well, it's not going to work because if I give them something, it's because I want to give it to them. And if I don't want to give it to them, I'm not going to. I don't care what they want. And if they're going to try to scam me, that's just not going to happen. So like, I just put life on my terms, right? It's not up to them whether they can, if people want to, like, what are they going to use me for?
Yeah.
What can they use me for? They're not getting any money out of me. If they just want to take my time, let me tell you something. This goes two ways. People say to me and often to other people, they're like, I don't want to approach so-and-so because I don't want to waste their time. You ever heard that? Like, hey, yeah. How come nobody's ever reached out directly to maybe Brandon Turner or why don't you reach out to somebody big? And you're like Jay Scott. People go, oh, I want to talk to Jay Scott, but he's in the real estate world, at least he's a big deal. And so I'm scared because I don't want to waste his time. And it's like, dude, it's up to him to protect his time. It's not up to you to manage his time. Mm-hmm. And so I'm the same way. I manage my time. If I don't want to do Fahib's podcast, I'm just going to say no. I don't care. I don't care if their relationship is genuine or not. I mean, I obviously know you, so it's fine. But like, if I find somebody that if I think the time is not going to be useful for me or useful for them or useful for their listeners, then I just say no. So I don't worry about potential negative things that might happen on somebody else's terms, because I don't live on what they want. I live on, I'm sort of sorry. Like, I live on what I want. And because I know that my motives are good and I'm not, being selfish, then it's going to work out.
Yeah. And David, go ahead with your question.
So do you think pandering is a good form of networking? Like, you're really interested in like this internship, but you don't have like a good chance of maybe getting it. So you keep going week after week after week, trying to get it and keep pandering to that specific person. Do you think that's a good method?
I think there's I think you can break that into two different approaches, right? Pandering is no good. No, pandering is not good, because what you're basically saying is, I'm not going to tell you what I am. I'm going to tell you what I think you want to hear. And when they find out that you're not what they want and you're just doing it's like dating somebody. It's like dating a girl that's like, oh yeah, I love Star Wars. And then you find out she doesn't love Star Wars. It's like, bro, I'm going to find out. And then we all lose. This is not going to win, right?
Yeah.
You're playing the long game here, right? You're playing the long game. So you want to be, everybody wants to be, okay, you got two problems. You want to be as authentic as you possibly can all the time. That's what works. Guarantee. Problem is, you don't know who you are yet.
That's true.
So you got to fake it a little bit. You got to be who you think you are. But anytime you act, and look, I'm guilty too, right? I have to live in a way where sometimes I'm like, I have to kind of be somebody I don't always want to be. It's not often, and it happens less as you get better at life. But sometimes you have to like play somebody else's game, because we're all living because that's how life is, right? You're playing somebody else's game of it. But the more you do it, the more you die inside, and the more that you're not living up. Serious, the more you're not living to what you're best at. And so like, everybody loses. If you go and you pander to that job and then they hire you, they get somebody who's not right for the job, and you get a job you didn't actually want. If you only get it because you're pandering, and let's be clear about pandering, right? What it is you're acting in a way that you think they want to hear, not what they actually need and what you are. Now, the other half of that is, should you go every week and pester them? Absolutely. Yes. If you're like not pandering, if you're like, that's the right job for me and I'm the right guy for it, and I'm so convinced that I'll almost do it for free, right? Just go to work, like, hey, let me just work today. I'll show you, right? Go and beat them up and be like, dude, what problems do you have? While you decide if you want to hire me or not, you tell me what your problems are, and I'll go home and solve them, because I'm the right guy for the job. So you want to be, when you're convicted of an idea, when you truly believe it and convicted, and you're like convinced that everybody else in the world could be wrong, and you still know you're right. When you believe it, the world will respect that highly. The world will show you grand respect for an idea that you believe in, and act it. But if you go there and you're like, I just want that job for like maybe ego or the pay or the title or some weird thing, and you're going to act in a way that's not actually true to you or what they need just to get it, it's going to fall flat in its face. You just think about it like dating. Like, you wouldn't want some girl to do that to you, where she acts the way you want her to act for 6 months. And then when you're committed, she's like, okay, well, now I'm going to be lazy and get fat, and I'm going to slack off. And you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Oh, now I cheat. I didn't cheat before, but now I cheat. Like, you don't want that. Nobody wins.
Now, you said something about being a genuine person, right? Like, it takes time to find yourself. Oh, what did it take you, Alex, to find your genuine self? I guess that's what a lot of people struggle with, like, right? It's just finding themselves.
Yeah. I do not have the answer to this question.
You're still in search for it?
Everybody is. It's a lifelong process. The goal is to get as good as you can, not to get the answer.
Well, how do you get good as you can? I guess.
Because you're going to change too, bro.
Yeah.
And the world's going to change, and like, you're going to get some opportunities, and that's going to change you. So I'll say a few things. Like, how you talk about yourself matters. It can bind you. If you say you're something that you're not, and you lie to yourself, that's unhelpful. And if you say something that you don't know about yourself as if you do, like I told where I go from this is for 30 years, I said to the world, I told myself, I'm not a creative person. And now you don't have to know me for very long to realize that I'm creative. I'm creative in a very specific way, but not in all ways, but I'm very creative. And so now I got a camera and I do video and I do a lot of creative things, and it's opened my world up. But for 30 years, I didn't engage with it because I said I wasn't some way, that I lied to myself. So the other one is you want to do a lot of experiences, because you won't really, like, how do you know what the world is like if you've never left North Carolina or you've never left the United States, right? Let me put it this way. There's 350 million Americans in the United States. If you went around the country and you shook hands with all 350 million people, you still would have only met 4% of the global population. It's nobody. That's crazy. It's a blip. So like, you have to do a lot of experiences to find out, like, dude, I'm not that athletic, right? I'm not good at I'm not very finesse, like sports, athletics, team sports, bikes. I'm just not good at it. And so it's like, dude, you don't have to be good at everything. Go find out what you're good at. I'm good at people. So I spend a lot of time around people. If you're good at systems, go do systems. If you're good at abstract, go do abstract. If you're good at arguing, go figure out how to get good at it. Like, find out how you learn. I learn audio. Some people have to read. Some people need to work it out physically themselves and like go do something. Some people, you know what I mean? Like, there's all these different aspects of who you are, right? Some people need employees to get their work done. Some people need bosses. I need bosses. I don't need employees. But that's good to know about oneself, right?
Yeah.
There's like 6 of those different personality tests. I'll tell you to go take all of them and find out. They're not gospel. They're like one step above freaking horoscopes, which are complete nonsense. But it's good to know that you're extroverted and your partner's introverted. It's good to know that one person feels the world, right? My guess is everybody here is a bunch of nerds that are a bunch of analytic types. And so everybody here wants data. They want rational information, right? They're not big criers, right? But there are people in the world who are feelers. They feel the world. They don't need a rational explanation. And it's an equal and different way to interpret information. And if you don't know that you're one way and that other people the other way, you can't communicate with them. And you don't know how that you best communicate or learn. There are people who are agreeable. There are people who are disagreeable. Find out which one you are. Find out where your limit is. Like, find out if you should get better at one or the other. These things are not gospel, but they're good to know how people are measured at the extremes of different personality types. So you know where you fall and you know how to lean. Look, the whole goal is to reduce the things that you're bad at naturally and lean into the things you're good at. Like, I played guitar for like 27 years. I was awful for 27 years. Awful, god awful. I should have given it up long ago, but I thought it was going to get me laid. But I'm terrible at it. And so like, nobody wins, and it's a big waste of time. Find out what you're good at and lean in. But it takes, like I said, it takes experience. It takes meeting a lot of people. It takes a lot of learning. Like, read books. Find out what books you like. If you find out what books you like and you read a bunch of books, you start to see patterns. Who wrote it? What do they like? Why'd they write it? What are the themes? How do you interpret the information?
Wow. And do you want to keep going with that, Alex?
Well, the last one I was going to say is ask people what you're like. Actually, 2 things. Ask people what you're like, and then you write out what you're like. That's an incredible exercise.
Yeah.
Who are you? Write it on one page. It's hard.
I actually do that a year. Every year, I always ask like people like, hey, what do you think about me, right? If you can say it, they're like, hey, I haven't talked to you in a while, right? I'm like, okay, I guess I got to work on that, right? I got to start communicating with my weak links and like tell them like how everything's going. Or like, let's go with the Sami's questions real quick. Go ahead, Sami.
I just got a question.
Go ahead.
So say like you find out what you're good at, right? But now let's say you don't like it at all. Do you just stick with it, or you just go do something you like?
If you're good at it, you'll like it.
You think?
100%. Do you have an example of something you like, but you're terrible at?
Go ahead. You can say it.
I can't think of one off the top of my head, but if you give me like a week to prepare, I got like a list going.
Just say one right now. What comes to your mind?
Yeah.
I can say the opposite though. Like, of something that like I was good at, but I didn't really like.
Yeah.
When I used to wrestle for my high school team, like I was pretty good. Like, I only wrestled for like 2 years, and I had I was like 8-1, whatever, like 8 wins to 1 loss. And let me tell you, bro, I hated that so much. but I only kept going because like I was like a sissy
Okay.
judged. But like now I'm never gonna go to wrestling ever again, bro. But at least
But what were you good at though?
What was I good at?
I mean, why were you good at it if you didn't like it? You didn't prepare, like you were just naturally good at it?
Yeah, like literally, like when I wrestled, I think that shit like origami. You know what I'm saying?
Right. So I guess here's what the key here is you have to find out what you did like about it. Because maybe it was a fluke, right? Maybe you're just like more naturally muscular, or you were stronger than the other guys and you were winning are you winning by accident? Right?
No.
Are you just winning? Like, could you have continued? You know what I mean? Like, how far could you have gone with it? Are you a physical person now? Do you need to go in the gym? Does your body lend itself towards physical exertion? Like there's something in there that you're naturally good at that you don't know how to use. But that's different than being like, okay, you said wrestling. And I'm like, okay, but maybe not wrestling, but what else? Why were you good at it? What about it were you good at? Was it team sports? Was it fitness? Was it, you know what I mean? Could you go do MMA now? You know what I mean? Like, is it something else?
I would say from my experience with Sami, right? He is a very sporty guy, right? He would put all of his even like he'll like run, weight lift, right? He'll do a bunch of like extravagant things. I'm like, bro, why are you doing
He's
this?
milking me.
Yeah. You're like,
dude, these are important conversations though. It's easy to go surface level. It really is easy to go surface level. It's harder to be like, to really pick apart layers and be like, why was I actually good at that? Or better yet, was I actually good at it? Or was it just, I'm so sorry to bust your chops, but like, was it just high school wrestling and you just happen to be the genetically gifted one, but it's a complete mismatch? Were you not actually that good at it? Or you just like, you know what I mean? It's like being the biggest guy in the gym in a gym, and you know, where there's like one member. It's like, you know what I mean? You're the biggest guy in the gym in a small town. It's like, who cares?
Now, Alex, do you believe in purpose versus passion? Where some people, they're doing their purpose, right? But it's not their passion at all.
I personally don't know that I have an opinion. I think you're getting a little bit too much into semantics for me. Mm-hmm. Like those should be the same.
Okay. Like, even like if it's just like a total opposite, right? Like, I know you do photography, right? And you also like networking with people. I guess you could put them two together. Like, I guess you can. Yeah, you're right.
Dude, if you're good at life, you should be able to take any two. Like, how do you blend real estate and photography without, I don't want to photograph houses ever. So how do you blend those two?
I guess
I go photograph entrepreneurs at events.
Okay.
And I'm the best one in the entire, I'm the only one in the industry because I'm the only one with that niche. Talent.
Yeah.
Right. And so like you say, well, I have my passion, and I'm like, my passion and my purpose. And I'm like, dude, find a way to blend them. If you're good, right? That's what you should do. Why would you keep these things separate? Like your life should be like, you should find ways to blend talents, because then you compound your skills. Right.
Yeah. Now with those that are like, actually like they're not finding they're just not doing anything right. Like they're not in a very the best mental state. They're not happy. I guess you could say they're depressed, right? You can confirm that they're depressed. I'm guessing from your knowledge, right? What would you say to that person?
I'm not a therapist, dude. I've been depressed. Everybody's been depressed. A lot of life is momentum based. Mm-hmm. When you're in a negative cycle, it's hard to get into a positive cycle. When you're in a positive cycle, it's much easier to stay there. So small momentum matters. General William McRaven wrote that book, Make Your Bed, and it's a speech on YouTube. It's a very short book and a very short speech, but it's really good. And it's this piece about like, dude, you can't change the world today, but you can make your bed. And like you wake up and you make your bed and you get something done. And then maybe you can get another little thing done and you get some momentum. And small tasks, like confidence comes from accomplishment. Remember that. Confidence comes from accomplishment. Doesn't come from how you look, doesn't come from ego. It comes from getting things done. You're like, I got this thing done, small or big, I feel a little better. Get a big thing done, feel a lot better. Especially if those things are meaningful. If they're empty, shallow things, then it's not that useful. But the other thing is, I'm kind of a raw dude. Like, I'll tell you this about life. There's nobody coming to save you. So depressed is a tough problem, but like, bro, you're the only one that can fix it. And you can tell me it's all sorts of reasons why it's hard. And I'm just being pragmatic. I don't know what the fix is. I know you're the only one that can fix it. And a lot of times, everybody has problems. Everybody has problems. You and I know each other through investing, but I'll tell you what, money is like one of the easiest problems in the world to solve. It's a very stressful problem, and it's a seemingly difficult problem. But anybody can solve the money problem. And then but like things like you said, mental health and relationships and family and purpose and identity and there's like much harder problems to solve.
Yeah.
So like, but I'll say that you get them all done. Like the best way to get them done is to like take radical self-responsibility, identify the problem, and then go move forward at it and try to get it done. There's no other way to live that will get it done. There's nothing, like I said, nobody's going to save you. Mm-hmm. So like, I don't have any good, like super fun answers, but the answer is kind of simple. It's like, you gotta like write down what would make your life better and then go tackle it.
No, you're right. You're right. A lot of people, they have like that victim mindset, right? And they need to like basically get their things done. Is there any things like that indicate that you're actually like going forward in life? Like, hey, I'm actually making progression while I'm moving in life. Like this is actually a good thing.
Yeah, you should write your goals out, and then you should keep them on like a document, and you should check them every few years. Well, you should check it all the time, right? But some of the easy ways are financial, right? Mm-hmm. Some of these finance is the easiest way to keep track of that metric, right? Hey, my net worth is going up. Okay, well that's good. That's better than going down, right? If you're somebody who's like new at life and you got like low or no credit, like your credit score gets better. Or it's harder with abstract things, right? Like are my relationships getting better, right? It's one of those things where I can't measure it, but if your relationship with your girlfriend or your wife is getting better or worse, is your relationship with your parents getting better or worse? Are you trying to get in the gym? Are you getting better or worse at that? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, you just got to track everything and like,
yeah, you got to track some stuff. Yeah. Like a lot of the things that people can do to make their life better are like fitness, reading and writing. Mm-hmm. Very, very simple stuff. So are you reading more than you did last year? Are you writing more than you did last year? Are you in the gym more than you did last year? Right? Are you, if you do those three things and you do them forever, like your life's going to be really good. It's not hard, but then people don't do anything and they're like, how come my life's getting worse? I'm like, because life is happening to you and you're not enacting your will upon it. And so like when life chooses what's going to happen to you, then like, who knows if your life's going to get better or not? Because you're not making any decisions. You're just at the mercy of the universe. And the universe is unfair.
That's fair.
So you gotta be the director. You gotta be the enact your will.
You gotta control what you can control. Or wait, do you believe in that too? Like you can only control what you can control, and like try not to like basically worry about the weather or whatever the hell that's in there.
Dude, almost every single religion and every single philosophy says exactly that. Like the universe is bigger than you, and it's unfair. It's unfathomably, relentlessly unfair. The only thing you can control is you. You can't. You're a victim. Maybe you are.
Yeah.
Great. Now what? What are you gonna do about it?
Yeah. Control what you can control.
That's right.
Sami, go ahead and ask your question.
Oh, hey, again. So I have like another question. So do you believe like you have to like have a good relationship with your family, good relationship with your friends, have like good finances to have like a perfect life? Or could you just have like majority of one being good and like the others being crappy to kind of
Can you explain your situation, Sami, to make it more, because you told me about it.
Does it gotta be mine? I mean, like,
yeah, I mean, it doesn't hurt, does it?
I mean, like, low-key, I was trying to share that.
Okay, go ahead.
Bro, nobody has a perfect life. Doesn't exist. So I'm not really a fan of even trying to have a balanced life. Like you're gonna have your life. And so you have to decide, like my parents and my relationship is fine. It's never gonna be like amazing, and that's okay. We're all like we're all fine. We're all on good terms, but it's just never gonna be like the most important thing in any of our lives, and that's okay. And like financially, I worked hard on it when I needed to work hard on it. And now like, it's not that important to me. Now I'm trying to find something else. And so, dude, there's no answer. I think you look at your life and you need to decide what's important for you. And so you're like, hey, look, people will tell you all the time, like family is the most important thing. And it's like, to them, where's that law? Where's that rule? That's not the most important thing. What's the most important is finding out what puts you at most in line with the universe. And like, I know it's a little woo, but like what makes you feel like you're working on challenges that are well suited for you, working on things that get you up and excited. Like if you're in a place where you wake up and you're like, okay, I'm pumped to go do this thing, something meaningful, a challenge, usually like you don't want to get pumped to wake up and play video games, but you want to wake up and get pumped to like go do a hike or go do a project or go solve a problem. You're working within, like you're working in sync with what you're good at. You're working in sync with the universe. But if you're like always at odds at something, it's like maybe you don't need to go force this thing. Like life, you don't have to force all these things. You have to have meaningful challenge, but after a while, like some things you're gonna be bad at. You're gonna be bad at a lot of things, actually. You're gonna be bad at most things. Mm-hmm. So like find out what you're bad at and then you're like, okay, stop doing them. So if you're looking at something in your life, you're like, hey, my relationship or like, you don't have to be consumed with money, but you have to be good enough at money so that it's not controlling you. You have to be in control of it. That's a must. You have to be in control of it. It can't be in control of you. And it's not that hard. You just got to learn a little bit. Relationships, I don't have any good advice really, other than like I have great friendships. I have some old friendships. I have great like close personal relationships, you know, the 4 or 5 people that are really super close to me. And so I know I'm good at that. So I lean in that, but you got to find out, like I said, what you're bad at is really almost as important as what you're good at. Cause then you're like, okay, every time I talk to this person, they want a small talk and I hate small talk. So we're just going to stop doing that. Like that, just why you know what I mean? Like if it's not right for you, it's not working for you. It's like, then it's probably not right for them either.
Do you also believe in like in a work-life balance, Alex?
No. Because that kind of tells me that your work is getting in the way of your life and you have to like segment out a piece of your life to go do somebody else's life.
Yeah, like, because I see that a lot in like a lot of like
employees.
Yeah.
Employee, let me tell you something, bro. Let me tell you how the world really works. You ready?
Yeah.
Okay. You're basically born into wage slavery. Like you are at the economic mercy of the system because you can't afford to do whatever you want. You have to go make enough money to pay your bills. You have to go to work to pay your bills. Well, the goal is to make enough money that you don't have to work for anybody else to pay your bills. You have enough to just self-sustain. Mm-hmm. Then once you solve that problem, then like, what's this work-life balance problem? Like do what you want to do all the time. It should be meaningful challenges. I'm not saying sit on your ass and eat Fruit Loops. I mean, like go do things that are meaningful to you, but like work-life balance, you're going to work for yourself.
Nice. And is that, because I like someone, they said before, like you're always gonna have a boss on top of you, right? No matter like didn't you just say that like you like having bosses or something of that sort?
Boss is a tough word because it comes with so much baggage between people's experience. You're always going to have somebody to answer to. You want to have somebody to answer to, right? You want to have somebody to answer to, but who you choose that to be is important, right? Having nobody to answer to is usually bad because most people are they're not purely self-motivated. They're like, most of us, I mean, I guarantee you everybody in this room at some point, if they were left in charge of their own devices with nothing to do and a bunch of money, they could probably waste an immense amount of time in front of a PC or on Reddit. Mm-hmm. I'm watching most of you guys do it now, right? Just dicking around on the phones. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you need something to do that's imposed on you from outside forces to keep you kind of straight. It's a balance in that way. It's a balance. You don't want a tyrant, but you don't want nothing. So if you mean work-life balance by like, you have to have some sort of, you know, something bigger than you to hold you accountable. Yeah. But you get to build it. So I don't consider that to be work-life balance.
Okay. And from like an 18-year-old's perspective, right? Let's say they want to be like financially free or like, they don't want to have like that. They're always like, oh, I don't want that boss. Right. Yep. And they're thinking of, they've always taught from high school, right? I need to go to college. Yep. Or I got to do something, right? What's your opinion on that?
Oh, it's tough, bro. College is super overpriced. I think you should, okay, if you work in sales, let me tell you something. College is incredibly overpriced and it's incredibly overrated. And there's nothing in there that will teach you something that you can't learn outside of it, other than specifically high niche skills, doctor, lawyer, something with a lot of like regulatory credentials. But even like programming, it's like, dude, you don't need to go to college for programming, right? You definitely don't need to go to college for business. Holy waste of time.
Yeah, I agree.
Right. So I guess it depends on like what it is that you want to do. Dude, if you want to be in real estate, it's like go find the biggest, like the baddest brokerage in your town and go be an agent. And like a lot of it's just humility. When you're 18, like, let me tell you something, you actually don't realize how little you know. You don't actually know yet. And so you need to go learn. And it takes a little bit of humility. Go learn from somebody better than you and just put some years in. The other thing is, this is the advice that I wish I took. This is advice I'm getting better at taking, but it's hard. And it's really annoying. 18-year-olds want to learn from 18-year-olds.
Yeah.
And it's just a terrible process. You really want to learn from 60-year-olds. The problem is 60-year-olds, like, you know, you're at that age where it's like a lot of them are out of touch. So you're finding the right 60-year-old is tough. But if you can find 60-year-olds or 50-year-olds that you vibe with, which you probably don't have many friends that are that age anyway. So it's a tough mix to get in. If you can be around those people, they will teach you how to really succeed in the world. Because here's what's going to happen. Between the time you're 18 to the time you're 28, you're going to chase almost exclusively stupid shit. And you're going to have enough like gusto and energy and confidence to like go, you know, thrive in an environment of stupid shit. And then you're going to hit 30 and you're like, okay, now I got to stop wasting time. And I wish I didn't waste all that time doing the stupid shit, games, girls, booze, clothes, cars, all the same stupid shit that everybody does. And so the sooner you can get out of that mindset and just stop being 18 and start being 40, the better off you're going to be. Because the years from 30 and 40 to 90 are a lot longer than the years from 18 to 28.
Yeah. I do agree with that. And I guess like when you said like making friends with a bunch of like old people, right? Like 60, 50, right? A lot of people, they will say like it's like their mentors, right? More like, but I try to see them as friends, right?
Same thing. Networking, mentorship, friends, same.
Got it. Yeah. And when it comes to like real estate, right? Or like what got you, where were you in life, right? When you had that mindset, like, yeah, I have to do real estate, or like real estate's the way.
I was 28 or 29. I was broke for my entire life. I had no money in the bank. I was making good money, wasn't saving it. I had a car payment, a $30,000 car, which I shouldn't have had. And then I got a DUI.
Really?
Yep.
Dang.
Alleged
DUI. Okay. And
it was dropped, but I got arrested.
You got arrested. Okay.
Yeah.
But
I was not convicted, but you know, I looked at so dude, I sat there, I had made like 90 grand that year at 28 selling cars. I'd made like 90 grand. And this is in 2010. So it was a little more than it is now. And I had like no money to show for myself. And so I was like, dude, I just made all this money. And then I get myself in trouble, nobody to blame but myself. And then I can't even afford to get the lawyer because I wasted all my money on bullshit. And so I was like, okay, dude, never again. Never, ever, ever, ever again. And so I just went bananas on learning personal finance. And I read books and I read blogs and I listened to podcasts. And I was like, once you learn the fundamentals of finance, it's incredibly easy. And you can make 30 grand a year and become a millionaire in less than 10 years.
What made you want to read all those books too? Like, I know like a lot of people that, you know, the average person reads like less than one book a year or something like that. So
yeah.
were you always a book reader?
I wanted to learn. No, I didn't read a book. It would be another 5 years before I started picking up books. So I got into podcasts, right? Around 2013, I got into podcasts and I found the Bigger Pockets podcast. And they were my first mentors, Brandon and Josh. And they're like, hey, this real estate thing works for regular people. And so it was 2013 and 14. So that, you know, the market was depressed. You could buy a lot more than you can now. But I started looking at it and I started learning about it. And then in 2014, I bought a house, a foreclosure, and I moved in it. And I was like, oh my God, this makes money. This is so easy. Are you serious? I've been screwing around my whole life, messing around with cars and booze and girls and clothes and trying to be cool. And I didn't actually have any money. It was all posturing. Everybody in this room who has a net worth where their car is less than 5% of their net worth is posturing, right? Like it's just fake. It looks cool, but it's not wealth. It's a big waste of money to look cool now. And so I sold my car, I bought a beater, I cut everything out and I just started saving money. Bought that house in 2014 for like, I put like $3,500 down. The house was 55 grand. A year later, I looked at it, I refinanced it. They said the house was worth 115. So in a year, I made like 80 grand. I never made that kind of money in my life. And so I was like, okay, I'm just going to do this over and over again.
Now with your first deal, what did you learn from that? Like, did you make any mistakes through your first deal?
I make mistakes every single day to this day, of course. Yeah. What I learned that is you can make mistakes and you can make a lot of money. And if things go wrong, you'll make a little bit of money. Right? Like, it's like this, dude. If you invest and you're a terrible investor and you make 5%, it's like over a lifetime, it's millions more than the person who never invests. Like, people look at investing as if it's rolling the dice. It's not rolling the dice. It like basically always works out. You just have to take the hits.
Yeah.
But like, you take a hit and then 10 years, the stock goes gangbusters. They told me not to buy Amazon stock when it was $1,000. They're like, that's so overpriced. Then it hit 3,300 and then it just split 20-1. So I had 5 shares that were supposedly overpriced that I like tripled my money on. And now I have 100 shares.
Now,
now what's Amazon going to be in 30 years? Like, you know what I mean? Like, the stock goes up and down, right? The stock goes up and down. But if you put a little money in, over time, it goes up. And so it's the same thing as real estate. It's the same thing as investing in books. It's the same thing as investing in people. You do a little bit, you do it over time, and then it will work. If you don't do any, you can't win the lottery without a ticket. You can't win investing without any money in.
That's true. And Dev, go ahead with your question.
Speaking of investing, do you believe that you should leverage your debt? Like, say you got a credit card with 30,000 on it. You believe you should invest that credit into your business or brand?
No.
Okay. Why?
I'm very risk averse investor. I'm very risk averse investor. Like, you should invest. You have to take risks.
Mm-hmm.
It's very risky to risk credit cards. That's very risky. Risking on, like, putting a mortgage on a house, a 30-year mortgage where my debt service is $500 a month and the house rents for $1,000. It's not so risky. Buying $30,000 in credit card where you have to pay, you're going to pay 1.5% of that note every month. So $400. You're going to have the same debt and you have to pay it every month. Yeah. And then it's not over 30 years, right? It's like, hey, you got about a year and then they're going to want the whole thing. So like, your investment has to pay off. And then if you miss, you go bankrupt.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't think about it like that. I didn't think about it like that.
I never want to tell somebody not to take risk, because risk is like one of the best things you can do for yourself, right? That's what we're talking about, going into fear of the unknown. Like, it is risk. You have to get comfortable with being risky, but controlled risks, especially when it comes to money, like debt is one of those things where it's like, it's almost an unnecessary risk, right? Mm-hmm. It's almost an unnecessary risk. You're better off risking on your labor. Like, I'll just go work my ass off for somebody.
Okay.
For somebody or with somebody, right? Find a project that you can get some equity in. It's like some people tell you, go get a credit card and flip a house. And I'm like, no, go get a friend with some money and flip a house. Go invest in relationship building where somebody else who maybe knows a little more than you can take some of that risk off your plate. So that way you're not going, I'm going to learn how to flip a house and figure out how this debt thing works all at the same time. Because what if you're wrong? If you're wrong about either one of those, you're now, dude, bankruptcy is 7 years.
Yeah.
Damn.
So if you're going to take a big risk, you need to have a lot more information. You shouldn't take uncalculated risks.
Okay.
If the opposite was, if you were like, look, I got this business and it makes XYZ amount of money per month, and I've been doing it for a year, and I know it makes about this amount of money, and I need somebody to front load me $30,000, but I don't have anybody, so I'm going to take my credit card, and I think this is going to pay off, and I have a proven model, then it's a different story. But if you're just like, what are you going to take the 30 grand out for, and what are you going to put it in? You're going to put it in the stock market? No, absolutely not.
Okay.
If you're going to put $30,000 into something that you are in control of and you have, maybe some experience with, that's different. If you're going to put in the stock market, absolutely not. No way. Because the interest rates on the credit card, dude, straight out of the gate, like, it's just simple math, right? The interest rate on the credit card is going to be 18%. The stock market's going to make you 8%. Like, you're going to lose money. The stock market this year is down 20%. If you have the credit card, right, you would now be down a cumulative of 48%. You're going bankrupt.
Yeah.
Jesus. Okay.
There's a lot of people that do that, Dev, and it's not the way. They really go downhill.
There's people who took debt out to buy cryptocurrency, and the cryptocurrency is so volatile, right? Mm-hmm. That there's people going to go bankrupt. And then the cryptocurrency might go up later. Like you get under, once you have debt, you have an obligation every month. So you have like an immediate time pressure. It's a much different type of risk than say trying something new or putting in your labor. Like there's really low risk in labor and you have a lot of it because you're young. But if you put all your eggs into this debt risk and it doesn't go well, now you got to go put your labor up anyways. And you set yourself behind. So it's a very good thing to take risk. It's a really, really important thing to take debt risk extremely seriously.
Okay. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Warren Buffett says the 3 risks you never take risk on is what is it? Liquor, ladies, and leverage.
Really?
Yes.
The liquor one got it. Huh?
That's what he says. Those are the 3 risks that get you.
I thought you could leverage your debt.
Yeah, but he's talking about stocks. He's a stock investor. Yeah, okay. You can leverage assets with debt, but with like real estate, right? But those are like really, that's actually quite low risk debt. And it can still bankrupt you. You have to do it in the right way. Mm. It's one thing if it's a long-term rental where it's really low risk and really reliable. It's another thing if it's a flip. And in 2008, a lot of people went bankrupt. A lot of people went bankrupt because they were flipping houses and then the market drops 50% and they're just stuck holding it. Mm-hmm. And then the debt comes due and they don't have the money. And so then they have to pledge everything else they own and they go bankrupt.
Not worth getting bankrupt.
So I'm not against debt, but it's like, dude, it's not a simple yes or no. It's a complicated topic. So, which means you have to give it due respect. You don't just go in willy-nilly.
You got to make a smart move on it. Like a smart, like you said, a calculator risk, right, Alex?
Yeah. Well, you got to have, again, this is why you need people around to ask, right? Because I've given you one portion of the answer, but there's more conversations to be had. So you need people around. Mm-hmm. That's why you network. That's why you make friends. You need people around that know this stuff so you can learn from them, because maybe you'll go read the books. Maybe you won't. Maybe you learn from books and maybe you don't. Maybe you learn from conversations. Maybe you learn other ways. So you have to like these are good questions, but you have to be exhaustive. So you actually know, instead of just being like, well, Alex says, what the fuck, what do you don't want, you don't know what I know. You need to know yourself. You don't want to think that I'm going to give you the best information I have, but what do I know?
Yeah. And how many properties did it take for you to reach financial freedom?
Financial freedom is tough, dude, because it took me about 80 doors.
80 doors.
Yeah.
Okay. That's like you from syndicating, or is it also including the properties that you own all to yourself?
So I have 8. I sold one. I have 7 single family properties. I had a 24 unit. I sold that property. And then I have a 52 unit. And when you say financial freedom, what I learned was I know how to make money now. So I don't have to. I only have to when I need something.
Ah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Now it's like I only make money on my terms. So sometimes I make a lot and sometimes I make a little. Like right now, I'm not making that much money. But right now, I have a lot of freedom. And, I just bought this house. So what I'm going to go do is I'm going to go convert my houses in Fayetteville to Airbnbs, and I'm going to up the income by probably like double. Right. And so that'll double that amount of income. And then I'm going to go, I'm going to go buy more syndications, but I'm going to do it. I'll do it in different ways. Like I can take my time. So when you say financial freedom, it's like, I still have to go find a way to make money, but I can take all the time in the world to where I only have to do it. Financial freedom is options. It's not like, it gets the monkey off your back.
Yeah.
Right. It buys you time. So you can okay, I'm gonna go make money, but I'll do it on my terms.
Now, what made you go to, you said you have a 52 apartment. So what made you get into commercial properties?
It's just as difficult with a way bigger paycheck.
Yeah. And you syndicated that one, right?
Yeah. And it's harder. I wanted the next challenge. So I bought a 24 unit for $1 million. I raised $400,000 from people I met on the internet. And then I was like, okay, what's next? Let's go bigger. So I bought a 52 unit, 3.2 million. I raised $1.4 million from my website.
Yeah.
Right. And so the next property is what? The next property is 5 million. The next property is maybe 10 million. Right. I'll raise $3 million.
Now we talked about this, right? About syndicating, right? I'm still trying to get. I remember I sent you my what was it? My sales pitch, right?
Oh,
And
it's
you said
awful.
it was god awful, right? I
God
talk
awful.
about it with a lot of people. I'm like, this is awful. Yeah, and I'm still fixing it. I'm trying to work on my. We're gonna go over that like later on in a couple months. I'm gonna reach back to you about like my syndication process, and for the audience, right? What type of syndication do you do?
That's a bit of a vague question. We do I did a 506B SEC regulated syndication where I can raise money from non-accredited investors that I have a previous existing relationship with. They get a portion of cash flow each month, and then they get a portion of the equity when I sell.
Nice. And what made you do syndications?
Single family is easy. I got bored. I wanted the next challenge. And so again, like, dude, life is just like, go find the next challenge, find out what's hard, find out how to solve problems and add value. And then like the money will work out. Okay. So I was like, okay, I know this real estate thing. I can make money now. And like, I'm not driven by money so much. Money's a shallow driver. It only gets you so far. You have to like, what else can I do? I can make money for other people. That's fun. I like that. So how about this? I raised, what did I say? $300,000 for the first deal. And I paid them back like 150% return. So a guy gave me $55,000 and 2 years later, I gave him back a check for 131.
Wow.
And he did nothing.
His face just doubled his money.
He never almost tripled. Almost tripled. He never even saw the property.
Now, how did you get people to basically like get involved with you? Because I'm betting like when you first started, right? You're like, hey, I'm Alex. I'm gonna start syndicating, right? When you went out there, how to feel? Like I know like a lot of people are like, well, come back to me when you do your first deal, right?
Yeah, a lot of people said that. Yep.
What was the how did you convince other people, or was it just based on trust, right? The relationship you built.
Everybody in this room needs a thought platform, a blog, a website, a podcast, a YouTube. Like you have to put your story on the internet because now, like, dude, people do not invest in deals. People invest in people. So is Alex a guy you want to invest in?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're about 90% of the way done. Oh, Alex, you think this is a good deal? I'm like, it's going to make money. I don't know if it's a good deal. It'll make money, right? I don't have to sell it that hard because I'm going to first, here's an easy one, right? I put the most money in.
Okay.
Right. So you want somebody to trust you, skin in the game. Right. I did it. I put $67,000 of my own cash into that deal. So you can put in 50, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. So also I look at it and go like, there's 7.7 billion people in the world. You can't get 5 of them to give you 100 grand or 5 of them to give you 50 grand each. Like, you know what I mean? There's 7.7 billion. Like how long's your Facebook list? There's like 4,000 people on my Facebook list. I don't know any of them, but I know that if I needed money, I would go email 4,000 mouth breathing human beings. I would go message 4,000 heartbeats. Hey, I'm going to go make money. Do you want to make money with me?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Money. And then like, when they're like, well, how does it make money? It's like, I have a pitch deck. It looks basically the opposite of yours. Right?
Yeah.
It's like when you're convicted, what I say before, when you're convicted, when you're like, okay, I know this is going to work and I believe it and I'm going to do it. Then the conversation is much different because people are like, well, how should I trust you? I'm like, I don't care if you do or not, but I have another phone call to make with somebody who will, and we're going to make money. I don't care. But when you're like desperate, you sell scared.
Yeah.
And everybody knows when you're selling scared, everybody knows. That's what I think David asked earlier about pandering. It's like, you don't want to pander because when they know you're like, dude, name a chick who you banged because of you were desperate and she did it out of pity. Like, even if it does happen, you don't want it.
Yeah.
No.
That's most of David's relationships. I can sense it. No, I'm just teasing Devin. Okay. But everybody knows that feeling. Like, you don't want to sell from desperation. So you have to have a deal that you believe in. You have to have a deal that you understand. You have a deal that you're confident about. And like, that's a whole other talk about how to how to understand if it's a deal or not. And some of that is just like having people in your world that you can. Before this, I did a 2.5 hour underwriting for a guy that's going to buy a $7 million, 20 unit property. He's going to convert to luxury Airbnbs. And I helped him do his underwriting. God. And he's like, he was all jacked up. And it's like, dude, I might get a piece of that deal now. Right. And it's not because I went out there and sold anybody anything, it's because I added value. And so like all these things, like you have to kind of be around it. You have to understand if it's a good deal. If you don't, you have to have somebody around who does. And then you do your piece. Maybe you're good at finding deals. Maybe you're good at managing assets. Maybe you're good at raising money. Maybe you're good at marketing. Maybe you're good at, doing like ad campaigns, systemized marketing. Maybe you're good at underwriting. I don't know. But like you're probably good at a bunch of it. And then once you find out what you're good at and you believe in a deal, like going and asking people, this is another reason why everybody needs to go do sales. That's all it is. It's sales. You know what? Like the number one thing about sales is ask. How many times has a girl that you didn't ask out said yes?
If I did none, right? Like if you didn't.
None.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you ask, you're going to get a lot of no's.
Yeah.
Especially you.
Yeah. Mostly 99%.
You get mostly no's, but there's 7.7 billion people. You don't need all yeses. You don't even need a majority. You need a fraction. What did I tell you? When you were trying to raise, how much were you trying to raise? You were trying to raise like 300 grand.
Yeah, I was. Yeah.
I was like, dude, you need 3 yeses. You need 3 yeses out of 350 million Americans.
That's true.
And with the internet, dude, you have bigger pockets. You have Twitter, you have Facebook, you have Instagram. You can literally text Elon Musk and ask him for money.
Yeah.
He's going to say no. But
at least you're
he says yes to some investments. He says yes to some investments, right? He's somebody. What about everybody in between? What about Warren Buffett? I tell people, they're like, I need a big investor list. I'm like, no, you need the right investor list. Because if my investor list was like Bezos, Musk, and Buffett, I'd be done. I wouldn't need an investor list. I need 3 texts. I need 3 phone numbers, right? It's about finding the right people. It's not about finding all these people. You don't need a bunch of yeses. You need the right people that are like, okay, Fahibin's going to do this deal. I believe in him. He's going to make money. It's going to work. Here's the money.
Wow. And with that, is there any like complications that come whenever you're syndicating? Like do people, I guess like what I'm trying to say is, from my experience, right? They're like, well, you never asked me for anything else, but now you're asking me for money, right? And I'm like, well,
you're not asking from see, yeah, you dude, you're all fucked up.
I know. I'm working on it still.
Dude, look, okay, first off, I can ask people for money because I can get away with things that other people can't get away with because I'm ridiculous, right? Yeah. And you have to know who you have to know where you can push people. Why you should do sales, because you have to know where the line is, right? So I'll call somebody and say, I don't want your money. I'm going to make money. Do you want to make money with me? Do you want to? You're not asking them for money. You're trying to give them money. Mm-hmm. Like, hey, do you want me to make you money? Hey, how many of your friends hate making money? Who doesn't want to make any money? Who wants to be broke forever?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I call somebody, I'm like, hey, I'm going to make money. You want to make 12%? I can pay you 12%. Is that good? Oh, that's great. Okay. Well, then you're not giving me money. You're giving that property over there. You're investing it. I don't want it. I'm not going to touch it. It's going to go right over there. Here's all the legal documents. Like we're going to make money together. I'm not trying to ask you for anything.
Man, we're going to talk more about this, Alex. Like you and me one-on-one about more about syndicating, but let's man, that's all. I still got to work on a bunch of this is like syndicating stuff because
you've not done it and you've not been. I mean, here's the real truth. You've not been close enough to it. You haven't been a part of anybody else's deals. You've never seen. I don't think you've ever seen my apartment building. You're not close enough to it, so you don't know it well enough. I'm so sorry to have that. People are not going to trust you because you don't have enough experience yet.
Yeah,
some people will, but you need to be around somebody else's deal and understand it. And then you'll have more confidence. And then when you're more confident, people will say yes. But you have this idea about syndication. You don't know enough about it yet. And so when you're going to these deals, you don't know they're going to make money because you don't know. Mm-hmm. And so then you're like, somebody else is like, does it make money? And you're like, I don't know. And they're like, well, I'm not going to give you my money if you don't know.
It's true. I got a lot of work on. You're right.
It's okay. Yeah. It's okay. That's good. That's good to know. Because
that is good to know. Yeah.
When you think you know everything, you can't learn anymore. When you're like, okay, I got a lot to learn. Well, okay, let me go figure it out.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And let me move on with these real estate questions. So whenever you're trying to find these properties, right? how do you find these like great deals? Do you have like any like tools, like a rule of thumbs that you go by? You're like, oh, that's a deal right there.
It's harder now, dude. The market's harder. Yeah, there's rules. It depends on what your goal is, right? Because everybody in this room is gonna have different goals. And it really starts with like, when I buy rental properties, like my goal with real estate, here's what it is. My goal with real estate is to buy something and then never, ever, 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 under any circumstance, sell it. My goal is to just collect properties like Pokemon. Like just I just want all of them. I never want to sell it. It makes it, I don't care what the return on equity is. I don't care that I can sell it for so much right now. I don't care. I just want to hold on to it forever. It'll cash flow and it gives me peace of mind and it gives me freedom. I don't care about making money. I care about my freedom. That's me. If you want to start a business, then maybe you go flip houses. Well, then your way of analyzing properties is going to be way different. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Definitely. So I have metrics. Yeah. I'm like, does it cash flow? Is it in an area that is going to, when I first started, all I cared about was cash flow. Right. And how bad a shape it was in. Cause I was like, okay, is it a wreck? If it's a wreck, I can buy it cheap and fix it up. That's what I wanted. Now that I have a little bit more cash flow. Now what I want is, I want properties that are going to appreciate. Is it an area of growth? Is it near a Starbucks? Are they going to redo the roads nearby it soon? Are there construction zones nearby? Is it going to go up in value? That's what I'm interested in now. So I'm less concerned about hey, will it break even? Can I make it an Airbnb? I just needed to like hold on, because a property in a nice area like Charlotte, if you can buy one and you buy it for 300 grand and you're like, okay, it's a lot of money, but in 30 years, it'll be worth 900. Right?
Yeah.
That's the kind of game I'm playing now. But maybe you can't afford to buy a house for $300,000 that doesn't cash flow at this point in your life. So you need to go buy something cheap. That's a lot of work and a pain in the ass, because that's what you do when you're broke. You live on equity. You live on sweat equity, rather. You labor your way to profits, because you can't make making 20% per year on nothing isn't going to get you anywhere. You have to go create some value. So when you're first starting out, you create value. And then as you get better, you still want to create value, but your money starts working for you more. So in the beginning, it's not so much about analyzing the deals, or it is, but it's about like understanding where you can create value, like finding out what's an underpriced property. Secondly, finding deals, relationships, like deals. The marketplace for houses is all people. Who owns the houses? People. Right. Who sells the houses? People. Right. Where do the good deals go? Where do they come from?
Just people problems.
Right. And so like, you want to find good deals, go find out who are the good wholesalers in town. Go find out who the big buyers are.
Yeah.
Go find out who the big buyers are and then get close and be like, hey, can I have one of your ones that you don't want, but's close? Can I split it? Can you split a deal with me if I do some of the labor? Can I get close to it? Like find out where the best deals in town are, like who's buying the big deals, and go work for them for free. Go be around it. And then when one comes up, you're like, you save your money. And then when one comes up, you're like, well, now that we're friends, like, I know that's a deal, but you do 50 deals a year. Can I have that one good deal and just to get me on my feet? Can I have that one now that I've been working with you for a few months? I have the money. Can you help me? Can I partner? Can I put some money into this deal so I can get a percentage of the profits? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You got to get around it. So like the more deals you do, the more deals that people send you, because nobody wants to screw around with you when they're like, I don't know if he's going to close. He's going too slow. He's being cheap. He's uncertain. I'm going to call Alex and he'll close in 5 days.
Yeah, it's true.
Why are they going to call you? You're never going to see a good deal. It's never going to, you know what I mean? So you have to know what game you're playing. That's incredibly important. And you're going to change your mind along the way. And that's okay. Like know what game you're playing and then find out who's doing that game and then go stick your face in their ass all day long and find out, you know what I mean? Like,
do you ever like think like, oh, they might think of me as like annoying. Oh, all he wants is like a good deal, or like you're just being like a parasite to them. Do you ever think like that? Like,
first off, I'm the most annoying person in the whole wide world and I love it. You cannot get rid of me. No. Yes. Yeah. I'm so annoying. Yeah. When I want to be around somebody, I'm like, okay, guess what? We're about to be best friends and you don't know it and you can't say no. Get ready. Get ready. It's gonna be painful. There's an ongoing joke in my friend group that's like not even funny anymore, where I say my friendships are all based on Stockholm syndrome, where I just annoy them and then I won't go away. And then they're tortured and tortured and tortured. And then finally they're like, ugh, that Alex, he's just misunderstood. It's okay. It's Stockholm syndrome to a T. So yes, you should be annoying. But here's the thing. If you just want something out of somebody and you're not going to add any value to them, they're not going to give you any time. So you have to be like, okay, I want to learn how to do this business, and I'm willing to give you my free labor to do it, or I'm willing to like give you my skills to do it. Like I will trade value. It's more than that, actually. It's are you a good investment? Because here's the reality: is it's not so much a trade of value. A guy like me, like, dude, I want to see everybody succeed. And I don't even want to just see it. Like, I will help you. So here's what happens. You're going to say, okay, that Alex guy on that podcast, he was so cool. I'm going to call him and I'm going to annoy him like you just asked. And I'm going to be scared. And I'm going to say, I'm going to call this guy who I don't know and ask him if he'll help me. And then I'm going to say yes. And then we're going to have a talk. And then you're going to go off and you're going to do nothing. And I'm going to watch you do nothing. And then a year, you're going to call me like, okay, now I'm ready. And I'm like, no, I don't care now. Because you're not a good investment. I can't spend more time. I can't spend that much time. I can't waste my time on you. You have to be a good investment. Now, if you come to me and you're like, all right, Alex, can I have some of your time and buy you coffee? Fuck yeah, you can. I'll give you some time. And then 6 months later, you call me and you're like, all right, bro, I got a podcast and 7 people will be there. And I'm trying to get this thing. I'm trying to help other people and I'm trying to do this thing. Will you give me some more of your time? Absolutely, I will, because you're a good investment. Because you've taken what I said and then you've grown and you've done more. And so I'm like, okay, maybe this guy's going to go places and I can help and I can be a part of it and I can see him succeed. So I will invest in him. Yes, because you're a good investment. Because I'm an investor. Does that make it's simple, right? Yeah. It makes sense. People are an investment. I'm telling you to invest in people. And so when you go ask somebody else to invest in you, just make sure that you show them that you're a good investment and it will work. Some people will say no. Most people will say yes. If they say yes, and then later they start giving you the cold shoulder, you know that you were a shitty investment for them.
I appreciate that, Alex. It means a lot.
Yeah. Well, look, there's always time to turn. So don't fuck up because you're on a slippery slope.
I know. I'm trying here. Okay.
Dude, you're talking about investors. They're thinking about everything like an investment. So be a good investment and the world will like, if you're a good investment and you know how to show it, the world will open up to you.
Yeah, that's true. Sami, go ahead.
Say like they invest in you, but you still bring in profit, but they expected more and they still give you a cold shoulder. Would you say you did something wrong? Or
there's people who like, I'm sort of in a situation now where we all like wanted to work together and then we started working together and it's not really working out. And it's because I'm not in the right place. I'm not in the right position. I'm not aligned with what they need. And so like nobody's kind of winning, and that's going to happen. And so you're going to get with somebody and you're gonna be like, I want to do work for you. And then you're going to get there and you're like, oh, actually, I don't want to work for you. And the thing that you need me to do is not what I'm good at. So I can't actually provide you the value you need. And so nobody wins. And this is why it's so important, like I said, from the very start, to know who you are, what you're good at, what you like. Because if they're like, hey, I need somebody to swing hammers. And you're like, bro, I really don't want to swing hammers. And I'm bad at it. And, I'll come swing hammers for a little while. But if you want me to make a career of it, it's like, it's not what I want to do. It's not a win. There's another way for me to win. And vice versa. If you're good at swinging hammers and you're like, you have like maybe an ego and you're like, I want to do something bigger, but I'm good at this and I like it. Well, go swing hammers for a little while. Because if you like it, somebody else, like everything you're good at, somebody else hates. Some things are easier to monetize than others. So if you go and you add value to somebody and it doesn't work out, like, dude, that's just part of it. I'm not saying it's always going to work out, but what you should not do, and which is very easy to do in life, is to get jaded. You never, ever, ever want to get jaded. Like some things don't work out, relationships don't work out, girlfriends don't work out, and you're going to be like, I hate women, or I hate women like this. And it's like, no, you just hated that setup, and people change. And so it was just wrong place, wrong time. It's like books. I have books that are super meaningful to me and you're going to read them and be like, that's bullshit. I don't like that book. And it's like wrong place, wrong person, wrong time. It doesn't mean that, books are garbage. And so you go and you take an attempt and you take a risk and you go and you work for somebody, you try to add value and you find out, you try your hardest and maybe it works and maybe it doesn't. Maybe it works for a little while. Maybe it ends sooner than you wanted, whatever the case. And you find out exactly what didn't work out and you make sure you try to line it up better next time. And you go to somebody and say, hey, look, I want to come work for you. This is what I can do. This is what I can't do. If you only need things that I can't do, then it's not a good fit. Do you have somebody that you would recommend that I'd be good for?
Did that answer your question, Sami?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Now, this you got me thinking a lot, Alex. Here, it's for all that information and for for you especially, right? Whenever you have all these properties, do you ever how do you keep peace of mind whenever you're traveling or trying to do other things like your photography, going to these meetups? Like,
Property manager.
yeah,
Property manager.
property manager. Yeah.
Dude, find good people. You know Roderick?
Roderick? No. Who's
Roderick Jackson? He's
No.
the owner of the building that we do real estate church at.
Really?
Yeah, you're bad at networking, sir.
Oh my, I'm sorry. God.
He's the guy you need to know. Yeah.
Well, why is that? What does he do? He does like property management?
Yeah. He has a huge real estate company. Yeah. Property manager. He's an investor. He's a flipper. He does a lot of different things. He's got a brokerage now. He manages all my properties. He's an investor in my properties. He's starting to become a builder.
You know what? I'll get his information from you, Alex.
Just, yeah. Like,
okay, I'm bad at networking. Okay. It's just
that's okay. It's okay. It's okay. The goal is not to be good at look, the point is not to be good at, the point is to be better at it.
Yeah. I literally, I tell these guys, I got all these books about networking, right? How to talk to people, how to do this, right? Because I've noticed, right, that whenever I talk to people, like back then, I was very aggressive, right? I was very, how we say, rude whenever I would like try to like just talk to them, or like, I guess it was my way of like soothing. I don't know. It was weird, right? So I'm like, okay, I got to figure out how to communicate better. Especially whenever I'm learning like, like words like why, right? Instead of saying why, because it comes out as aggressive, why can I say like, how come, or help me understand? Like these types of words, like I'm trying to change myself, like on like how to communicate better with other people. And it is, I guess it's a part of like networking too, because I guess it's like a bit of like an introvert thing. Going out to talking to people, it's like, yeah, but it's like, it just feels weird. You know what I mean? Like whenever,
let me make a clear distinction. Introvert is how you gain or expend energy from people. So when you're around people, if you get energy, you're an extrovert. If you're around people and you expend energy and you need a rest afterwards, then you're an introvert. Neither of those has anything to do with being shy.
now what is
everybody is shy. I used to be shy. I'm still shy sometimes. It's hard to go into a room of people you don't know and just start making friends. That's hard for everybody. It's hard to be in a bar and go talk to a girl.
Yeah.
It's hard. It's not easy. I'm not saying it's going to be easy. You got to do it anyway.
Yeah.
And you'll get better at it. You'll probably always have moments of shy, but like some of what you're saying, I think is like little minutia for me. Again, those personality tests, one of the tests is neuroticism, how much you dwell on negative interactions. If you're high neurotic, it's like, okay, it's fine. You're high neurotic, but not everybody is. You might be the only one dwelling. Everybody else might be fine. You're like, I was rude. They're like, we didn't notice. Like you're the only one carrying that shit around. It's good to know. I'm not saying you can fix it easy. I'm just saying it's good to know. Here's the other thing. Okay, you guys are going to love this story. You ready?
Go ahead.
I used to think politics was about getting 100% of the vote and then hoping you end up with 50.
Okay.
That's what I thought, right? Hey, I want to go win all the votes. And like, if I get 51, then I win. Yeah. That's not what politics is. That's not really how it works.
And what is it?
Well, then I thought it's like, they're not trying to win 100 and get 50. They're trying to get 51. They're only working on the 51% of people that are right for them. They are not working on the other 49%. They're not working on getting the people to be friends with them that are wrong for them. Right?
Okay, yeah.
Like the politicians, like the big ones, right? Yeah. Like Donald Trump is not trying to win over Democrats.
True.
He's not trying to do it. He's trying to like super lean into the Republicans, right?
Yeah.
Right. He's not trying to get 100% of the vote. He's trying to get 51, like just 51. And then I realized that that's not what he's doing either.
What?
That's not really what they're doing. Now, they're just trying to piss off the wrong 49.
Okay. Explain. What do you mean?
Like they just go like, oh, look how bad those guys are over there. We're not like them. I don't need you to like me. I just need you to know. It's like, I'll find my people. You and I are friends, right? Why? You can't tell me why, but you can tell me when there's people you don't like. So just go make sure that you're not making friends with people that are wrong for you. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
There's something like there's something like 49% of the population, maybe even higher, that is not right for you and never will be. And you shouldn't try to make them your people. So like when you're networking and you're like, I'm trying to it's good to get better at communication, but it's also good to be like, hey, look, there's people that are right for me. And if I find them, it's going to work out easy. And if I waste a bunch of time trying to make people who are not right for me like me, because I think that everybody's supposed to like me, then you're going to fail. You're going to have a hard time because not everybody's going to like you, no matter how much you try and how much you practice. And then you're going to carry around this thing like, oh, these people don't like me because I'm bad at it. It's like, no, people don't like Alex because he's rude. Great. They're wrong for me. I don't care. And then some people like me because I'm rude. So which one should I be?
Just like you, like you just,
there you go.
So when you said like they're trying to piss off the 49%, like I'm still confused on how that works.
It doesn't work super good if you've noticed the state of our politics.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of it.
No, what I'm saying is I'm just trying to give you something to think about. Like, it's not about making 100% of people like you, because not 100% of people are never going to like you no matter how much you try.
Yeah.
And so the goal is to go off and be like, what kind of people do I like? I like people. I'll tell you what I like. I like people who have thick skin.
We can't hear you, Alex. Your mic. There you go.
Is that? Oh,
yeah. There you go. You're much better.
What happened?
No, you're good. You're good.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
I like people who have thick skin.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to hold my tongue. I want to say what I think.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I like people who like abstract ideas. I don't like people. I can't talk to people about. I can't do small talk. I want to get it right into big, awkward conversations about big topics like this conversation. What we talk about? We talked about life. Talked about mindset. We didn't talk about how to analyze a deal.
Yeah.
Right. We're talking about big stuff. We're talking about abstract. That's what I like. It's not for everybody. Some people don't like it. My mom does not know how to talk about the abstract, and that's why we don't communicate well. Dude, this light is really not working out well.
Yeah, I can see that. Hey, you guys should see his like actual setup. It's really nice.
Yeah.
Like your thing, like I see you and David's setup, and it's like I always like, why can't David get a setup like yours? It'd be way better.
Yeah, he can't do what I do. But this room that I'm in right now, we're about to build I'm going to build a brand new podcast studio. So it's going to be dope.
I would like to see that.
It's gonna be super dope. So yeah, like everybody in the room, if you want to network, like just remember, you don't have to make everybody like you. Don't dwell on it. Try to get better. Try to communicate well. You do want to be likable. But you want to be likable on your terms. And you're not going to do that by being a jerk. So if you're a jerk and you're just like, I'll find people that like jerks, it's like, that's not going to work out. So if you're not a jerk and you're like trying to be a nice person and you're trying to make other people's lives better and you're trying to add value, then that's all you really need to focus on. And the people who don't like you afterwards, because they just don't, F them. Because you don't know what the real deal is. Some people are going to be jealous of you. Mm-hmm. What are you going to do? You're going to make them like you? No, it's a waste of your energy. So you're fine.
Thank you.
You're fine. We're friends. You're fine.
Yeah, of course. Now we're going to go through like the final questions here, right? So what I'd like to do is like I ask each one of these guys up here. They're going to ask their own like one question, and then we're going to move on to the final questions.
Hit me.
Dev, go ahead. Your question.
1 second, pull them up. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
All right, okay. Mr. Alex, so how do I become more, if you have any tips, how do you become a more skilled negotiator or better at negotiating, especially when it comes to deals or trying to get what you want out of a deal?
This is not my area of expertise.
Okay.
So what I would say is you practice more. Like find, again, sales, right? Like find a business that you can go in and you can negotiate every single day.
Okay.
The more you do it, the better at it you'll get. If you do it once in a while, you're never going to be good at it. This is why like car dealers win, because somebody comes in and buys a car every 5 years and they negotiate against a guy who negotiates 5 car deals a day. And so you're just getting out practiced.
So stay consistent, repetition.
Yeah. I mean, that's the answer to it. You want to get good at something, do it every day.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm again, it's not my area of expertise, The other one I'd say is do things that like negotiating is, instead of always doing it for sales or always doing that like something, go learn how to play poker.
Okay.
Some of the people I know who are the best negotiators are like, one of the guys I know who wrote a book on negotiating, he goes to the World Series of Poker every year. Because what is poker?
So like negotiating people and all that stuff, right?
It's reading people.
Reading people, right.
It's reading people. It's controlling a narrative. It's controlling your body language, which is what a lot of negotiating is. It's learning when you're confident, when to be confident, when to bluff, when you're strong, when you're weak, when they're strong, when they're weak, right? It makes you disciplined. It slows down awkward and uncomfortable tension interactions, right? Negotiating is always high pressure.
Okay.
Because both parties want to win.
Sure.
Right. So how do you win and make somebody else either win or feel like they win? How do you create a win-win scenario? Nobody wants to lose. So if you're good, you create a win-win. It's not always easy, but that's how so a lot of it is like, what do they need? What do they want? But again, I'm not going to teach you how to negotiate. It's not my strong suit. I would teach you poorly, but I will say practice, and then practice and like find ways to practice that are outside of just deals. Like find out like that's why I say poker, something like that.
Okay. All right. And last one, what values or principles do you live by as a man?
Practice radical responsibility.
It's a radical responsibility.
Radical self-responsibility.
Okay.
Make big sacrifices. Always do what's hardest. Right. I got a list actually of like values. One of them is know where your ideas come from. That's a hard one, especially when you're young. Everything you've learned is from somebody else.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. What the well, what if they taught you wrong?
It's so
what ideas are yours and what ideas are somebody else's that they gave to you? And you're going to spend your entire life living by somebody else's wrong idea or incomplete idea or whatever. So here, hang on. I'm going to find these now.
Yeah. Know where your ideas come from. That's good.
That is true, because you know how like to say like whenever someone's like young, they're more, or they have no experience in it, they're much more easier to like teach, or but basically like make them your own, I guess. They're like a sponge.
Yeah, they don't have opinions, so they don't know how to defend against, do what's hard. Attitude is contagious.
Attitude?
Yeah, attitude is contagious. Like super contagious. Every time you talk to somebody, you're gonna impact them. My attitude is impacting you guys right now. Yeah. Am I being optimistic about the future? Am I being excited? Am I talking with conviction? Right? Do I seem confident? Do I seem like things like you could accomplish more in life? You know what I mean? Are you coming away and you're like, damn, I want to do more. I'm hyped up. Like, do you want to be that person, or do you want to be somebody that's like negative or unpassioned or jaded? You don't want like these. If I'm that way, then you're going to walk away and you'll be like, that guy was okay. Right? Or worse, that guy sucks. Like attitude is contagious. And then when you're better and you make people better, then they call you and they're like, hey, my life's better. I want to, you know what I mean? They feed it back to you. And so it's vice versa too, because other people's attitudes are contagious for you. So you need to find out whose are poisonous and just, even if it's family, you need to get out. Attitude is contagious. Big one is do not lie to yourself. Easiest thing in the world to do. Very, very difficult to recognize, very difficult to stop. But that's one I live by. Do not lie to yourself. Stay alert, stay alive. That's I don't stick my head in the sand when it comes to things. I pay attention, situational awareness and like day to day, but also like, what's the future going to look like? Get ready. What's the future going to be like? And like, how are you going to live in it? The world is not going to stay the same. Like, get ready, stay alert, stay alive. The Army taught me that. And then the last one is the second last one is respond, don't react. That's a good one for you youngins, bro. Oof. Respond, don't react. If you're hot, if you're mad, don't have the argument yet. Go for a walk. Wait a day. Take control with patience. Do not respond with your emotions. Do not respond at all. React. Like, make sure you think about things. And then the last one is live with less.
Live with less, like frugally.
Minimalism.
Everything. Live with less. Like, think about all the things you need that make your life stressful. You don't need them. Big house, big car, a lot of friends, alcohol, ladies, women, anxiety, the fucking cell phone, checking the phone all the time, trying to be popular on social media, all this stuff. Like, you don't need it. It's making your life worse. Yeah. Live with less.
I like that.
Nice. Is that all your questions, Devin?
No, I got one more.
Go
Would
ahead.
you see yourself at 55, Mr. Alex?
Dude, that's a hard question. By 55, I will have written at least one book. Some kind of like this, some kind of philosophy, some kind of life self-help philosophy. I'm going to go to space. I've been wanting to go to space my whole life, and now that I'm an adult, it's starting to become popular. And I'm going to turn 40 next year. Jesus, wait, how old am I? I'm going to turn 40 next year. By the time I'm 55, 15 more years, 16 more years, it'll be financially more feasible, and I'll be much wealthier. And so I'm going to go to space.
Hell yeah.
And I would like to be spending my time, I've been very fortunate in life, and I've done somewhat well for myself, and I'm going to spend my time trying to help the next person do the same.
Nice.
Thank you so much.
All right, Joe, go ahead. Yeah, if he's here.
I'm not going to help Joe.
Yeah. Sami, you go ahead.
How would you go on your way to find a property manager for like your properties?
Easy. Get a list of 20 and then talk to every single one of them. And then pick the one you like best that you think will do the best job. If you have to choose between 2 or 3, like, you have a really good problem. Because here's what's actually going to happen. You're going to write down a list of 20. You're going to have about half of them that either won't answer your phone call or won't call you back at all. Right? And then the few that do call you, you're going to find some that you just hate. You hate dealing with them. They're unprofessional. You don't like working with them. You don't like it. And then you're going to have 1 or 2 that you're like have to pick from. And then you just pick one. And then if it doesn't work out, you go get somebody else.
Now, when getting this list, where do you find these?
Google. Yeah, you can Google referrals.
Referrals in Google. Yep.
There's
not 50 property managers in town. So if you get 20, you're going to get almost all of them anyway.
Like Sami, you know how you were calling Zillow to get for finding real estate and all that? Guess what? Just ask them, do they know a property manager? Right? I'm going to tell you, they're probably going to tell you one, right? Especially if you say, can you refer me? Right? You'll give them credit as well.
All right.
Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
All right. David?
What do you do? What's your daily routine to get you ready for the next day?
Bro, I'm the worst person to ask.
You know what's funny? You and Shelby, you guys are like, you two are like the opposites. Like, Shelby's more like a scheduled person, and you're like the total opposite.
I don't do good with doing the same thing every day. So I'm not a good one to ask. Ask Shelby. Like, I'm just not going to give you advice in something that I'm bad at. Find somebody better. Like, I will say this, my schedule is basically like, I have to, if a day is good for me, if I go to the gym, I read and I write. If I can do all those 3 things, I'm in really good shape. Mm-hmm. The rest of it is, I spend a lot of time goal setting. So whatever the goal of the day or the week is, I have to-do lists. So I just go through my to-do list and I'm like, what can I knock out? I do a mix of things I don't want to do. I try to get those done first because I don't want to do them. And so you have to do things you don't want to do. And so the faster you knock those out, the easier your day would be. So I try to do the things on my to-do list that I don't want to do first. And then I try to do the things that are gonna set me up for the biggest opportunity. What I want to do is I want to position myself so that I can capitalize on opportunity in the future. And so I need to do things that allow me to capitalize on opportunity in the future. So that's something like, you know, sometimes it's like building the brand, making sure that I have content coming out, right? So that I can capitalize on something like that, or making sure that, you know, people, I invest in my relationships. You know, when I'm looking for deals, it's going off and looking for deals every day. So it's just a matter of like, what's important to me? What problems am I trying to solve? And then, yeah, so that's a terrible answer.
Do you ever like procrastinate? And what do you do whenever you start like procrastinating? I know like some people are like, oh, I just fall into video games or something.
Yeah, I do procrastinate. Bad habit. What is good for me is to keep my pipeline of exciting things filled so that I'm always under pressure. Gotcha. I like being under pressure. And then when I'm under pressure, I'm like, I have to get this done today. I'll get a lot done. When I'm like, I have 3 weeks to do it, then I basically get it done one day before the 3 weeks is up. And so what I do is I like I said before, I have I create a boss, right? I self-impose important things that I can't mess up onto myself so that I'm like, okay, look, like right now, like there's a couch being delivered tomorrow and I have to go to Fayetteville and get a bunch of stuff. So like, I guess at 5 a.m, I'm going to drive to Fayetteville and then I'm going to load the car up and I'm going to drive right back. Is it a pain? Yeah. But it's like, do it then, or I procrastinate and do it later. And then, you know what I mean? The house is getting painted on Tuesday. So I need to get everything here and ready so that when the house is painted on Tuesday, I can start building the studio, because the studio needs to get built so that I can have the practice, because in June, I'm going to go trial to help a guy build a new podcast. And he wants me to build a set in a studio. So now I need to get practice in so that I'm really good for this guy, because he is a really super unbelievable big deal in my circle. And I want this gig more than I've wanted any gig for a while. So I need to practice now so that I have 6 months of like, I am the right guy. I am well established. I'm ahead of this.
Who is this guy? That's like,
I legally can't say, but
okay.
He's somebody, you know, he's the biggest celebrity you probably know that we both know.
Okay. Okay. I'm gonna stay it in my head. All right.
I might have to move to Maui. Does that make it?
Oh yeah, that does. Okay. That makes sense now. Yeah. Okay.
So
there we go.
I'm going to go to Maui in June.
Wow. Okay.
So what do you do? So you got to be ready, right? You're not screwing around.
Yeah.
Right.
Definitely. Practice.
So I got to go.
Yeah.
So my schedule right now is get ready for June.
You learn how to surf?
I want to learn how to surf so bad. I feel like surfing is going to be my next zen. Like, I feel like that puts me at peace with the universe.
Oh, all right. Pena, if you're here, ask your question. There you go.
Yeah. Have you ever thought about investing internationally, like China invests like in Africa to like spread their influence and make people like connected to them? Have you ever thought about like investing real estate in other countries?
No.
Like,
no, because
you said, yeah.
Because again, my goal of investing is to find dead ass reliable returns. Right? I'm not looking for outsized returns. I'm not looking for complicated projects. I'm looking for something that I know makes money.
Okay.
And so there's an unlimited amount of money to be made in America, and I know how to do it. And so going to another country means what? It means a level of complexity, a level of transactional unknowns, transactional risks, currency unknowns, currency risks, and like cultural friction. Like, I don't know the culture. I don't know how it works there. And so all for what? To do something that I could do here just as easily, you know?
About for fun, like just like at that point in your life where you gone to space already and you're like, what else do I do in my life?
If there was a place that I wanted to go visit regularly, like I think there's a chance that I might retire in the Caribbean, right? Because it's cheap. And so it's like, do you want to live in the Bahamas and you can retire there and the dollar goes far? Then I might buy something there, and maybe like, oh, I buy a little villa where I can have some Airbnbs, then maybe, but it would definitely be secondary to I want to live there or at least visit there regularly.
Yeah.
But buying a house for fun somewhere else seems like a lot of work, and it seems like it would take a lot of, like investing isn't always fun. It's work. It's a responsibility. It's exciting and rewarding, but I guess, again, I look at that and go like, I'd have to go learn all this stuff to go buy a house in a place that I don't already visit. So like, it doesn't fit my lifestyle. So I'm not saying you shouldn't. I'm just saying for me personally, I like to travel the world, but I like to go somewhere new all the time. So if if I went to like the same place in Mexico all the time, it's like, dude, buy something there because then you can travel cheap, you can make some money. That makes a lot of sense.
Oh. Understood. That was my question. I pleaded for
it. Nice. All right. We're gonna do this thing that I came up with.
The other guys didn't have it.
Yeah, Brian, he just said he just wanted to hear, unless he's here.
Okay, no
Brian,
problem. That's all good. I'm just making sure.
Okay. Thanks, Alex. You care for everybody.
I've been hosting podcasts since 2017.
I know. Yeah, you guys should hear their podcast, like the military millionaire. Or is that just is that David's name? I just
that's David's brand, but he couldn't do it without me because I'm amazing.
Okay. I have the spin the wheel thing. All right. Don't steal it. Okay. I made it.
Okay, no, I'm not gonna steal it. I'm not gonna steal it. Hit
All
me.
right. Basically, spin the wheel. Let's see what questions they come up with. All right. What is your favorite song? I'm guessing it is. Yeah.
Oh my
what's your
gosh.
favorite meal? What's your favorite? You know what? Let's do both. All right. So you said, "Oh my God," to what's your favorite song? We'll do that one. We'll do what's your favorite? What will be your last meal? You know what? What's your favorite meal?
Bro, you need to get what's the question?
Okay.
You tell
Okay.
me what the question is.
Okay. Okay. God. Okay. What's your favorite song? All right. Let's do with that.
I'm obsessed with this band called Tool.
Oh, is it metal?
It's like existential metal. It's very, very deep lyrics. And they've been popular since the 90s and they're old and 55 now, but they still come out with new albums and they're incredible. And in 2001, they made an album called Lateralis. And the main song on there is called Lateralis. And it's been my favorite song since 2001. And it will be my favorite song till the day I die.
Nice. And what about your meal?
Smoking hot chicken wings.
Chicken wings. Okay.
Yeah, I'm a peasant. I know.
This is the when you say like I got to work on my website, right? I took your photo, right? That you had on your Facebook of me, right? So I just took that.
Dude, next time I'm in town, we'll hang out and we'll just hang out for 3 or 4 hours and I'll take pictures of you.
Oh, really? Oh,
yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, I was like, okay, I'll make a blog about myself, right? All this stuff, right? Like you said, make it about you and like promote yourself.
This is perfect. Yep.
Thank you. And yeah, I got book notes, real estate deals. I haven't put anything here yet. I mean, I could put the 3 that I have in here.
You should put the 3 that you have there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you should put the 3 that you have there. So somebody can be like, who is this guy? Well, he's not brand new. Okay. Why did he do this? Why did he buy this? 3 deals. Yeah.
Yeah. And I just have like the self-improvement money tips that I give to people, right?
Now just do it forever.
Got it. I'll do it.
Easy,
and now
so easy.
We're going to go with our final questions here. So if you can go back in time, all right, what would you tell the cliche your younger self?
Read more.
Okay. It's coming up with that.
Books are the highest. Let me tell you something. Books are the highest return on investment of anything you can do. And you won't do it. Isn't that fucked up? Isn't that fucked up? You're all investors who want to get better. And I'm like, what's the highest return on investment of anything you can do? Books. Oh, no, not any. What else? What else you got, Alex?
And what would you tell your future self? Like if you were to ask them back to your future self.
What am I fucking up that I don't know? That's a hard question. That's a good question.
Okay.
That's a really hard question. What would I ask my future self?
Yeah.
I already know what he'd say.
What would he say?
He'd tell me to do all the things I'm afraid of.
Have you done all the things that you're afraid of?
I'm afraid of him.
Okay, what's this one fear that you have to do? What's your next fear?
I need to write more. I need to publish more content.
Okay. What about that book that you want to work on?
Yeah, I need to work on it.
There you go. And I know this is you say this is not controversial, but you have a lot of thing to this. The original question is, what do you think? What do you think the secret sauce is to being successful? But when we first talked, you said that successful is, like in different opinions. People have different opinions about them. Can you explain that further to the audience about what
Yeah,
success
the question.
is?
Yeah. So my answer is the question, right? Like,
Yeah.
my answer is sort of the question in reverse. Like, okay, what is success? What are you asking me?
That is like people have like, what do you think? Yeah, he basically did this to me. He's like, hey, what is success? I'm like, I don't know. It's like, I guess like,
Yeah, you're
You
asking me a
have-
question that you don't know, that you don't know what you're asking me.
so
And,
people.
then, and so I say, well, it's up for everybody. And you're like, what does that mean? And I'm like, it's up for everybody. Like it's okay. Like, it's such a weird word, right? Because people think success. What does that mean? Right? Is it fame? Because let me tell you something. There's a lot of famous people that commit suicide. A lot of famous people that are unhappy. There's a lot of famous people that.
Oh, your mic is messed up. There we go. You can hear you.
Yeah, sorry. I don't know.
No, you're good.
My setups. I'm in this like janky, like I'm literally in an office. It's so ghetto right now.
I think it's when you move your monitor.
Yeah. Well, this computer sucks too. Success is different for everybody. And a lot of like, what you have to be careful of is, like, what's the word? I got to think of a little catchphrase for it, but it's basically like, envious of success. Like you look at people and you're like, I want to be like that. And you're like, you don't actually know what that person's life is like. You just see one piece of it. So you got to be careful not to get somebody else's like highlight reel and think that that's successful. So what I usually define success as, because it's my version, is being able to spend every day doing things that I'm super passionate about. And then spending time on challenges, working hard on challenges that I'm excited about, and then not doing anything that I don't, not doing anything that is done in a process that I don't believe in. I want everything that I do to be something that I'm convicted about, that I believe in. That's success.
That's success
for me.
For you, yes. And how do people find their own terms of success? Is like, is just their own label? Like, hey, I think I'm successful.
See, again, that's why it's so important to define, because like you can do this like little mind game where you're like, everybody's successful, but it's like, that's stupid, right? What is that? Right? Everybody's successful. So that's why I try to get to like my version of that is saying, working on challenges, increasingly difficult challenges that you're always passionate about, because like there's no end game to life, bro. There's nowhere where you're going to be like, okay, I made it.
Yeah.
It doesn't exist.
There's always a bigger mountain.
There's always a bigger mountain. It's in Infinite Jest, I said, what flame dies when you feed it?
Well, flames die when you feed it. No flame.
Yeah. None.
It just keeps going.
Right. So you're like, oh, I'm going to go make more money. It's like, guess what? You're not going to be happy with the more money. You're just going to want more.
Yeah.
There's no anything you're like passionate about chasing. The more you invest in it, the bigger the flame gets, not smaller.
That's so true.
Yeah, it's true. So again, it's like, what do you mean by success? It's a hard question to answer. So, it's like the next challenge. So you have to define what challenges you enjoy.
Okay.
Right.
And for you, whenever you're seeking these challenges, is there like a level, like they can't be the same, or like it has to basically, does it get to the point where you're like, okay, I need to lose it all, risk it all? Like I do understand that you have like risk mitigation. But does it ever get to a point where like you're going to have that, let's do it all, right?
Yeah. Well, I just did it. I moved to Charlotte. In a house I can't afford.
Yeah.
Right. Why? Because what'd you ask me when I first started? Why Charlotte?
Yeah. Why Charlotte?
Right. Because it's a big city. It's going to grow. So like, oh, do you want to grow? It's like, well, then you got to risk. You got to take the risk from like, well, if you stay in Fayetteville, it's safer. It's like, right. But then you can't grow. You got to take the risk.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like you got to go do the thing that you're scared of. And so you're like, well,
that is a fear.
If I don't go invest any money, then I can't lose any. It's like, right, but you can't gain any either. So like the success, whether the deal comes out good or bad, you're going to get better. And then you're going to go do a bigger deal with more, you know what I mean? Because you'll be more confident, get more experience. And so the success is like the ongoing process of growth. The question is, are you happy with how much you're trying to get out of your comfort zone. Because what happens is it's easy to get complacent. And so then it's like, well, is that really success? It's like, well, I've done so much that now I don't want to grow anymore. That doesn't seem like success to me.
Dang. You seeking these challenges is like, do you think like it's gonna like 10x you in a way as like
who you get exponentially better at life? Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
You don't get incrementally better at life. You get exponentially better at life.
That's what I was thinking.
But people who, it's the opposite true too, right? Like people who don't try, you actually get worse at life because you can do less.
I forgot what that word was, like whenever you just like downgrade or something because you're not moving anywhere.
Don't know, don't want to know, don't care, not applicable, don't need it.
Yeah. And finally, or not finally, well, what books would you recommend for certain situations in life, whether it's real estate, self-improvement, networking, anything?
I hate this question.
Why is that?
Because the answer is you should find a way to become a lifelong reader.
Yeah.
That's the answer. Like I can give you a list of books that might be wrong for you, or you might not understand them, or you might be like, bro, like Nietzsche changed my life, but you might read him and be like, what the fuck is this? Taleb is a brilliant guy, but he might be talking about something you don't understand. His attitude is tough. It might be out of your depth right now. And I could recommend books like Rich Dad, Poor Dad, or The Richest Man in Babylon. And if you recommend me those books, I'm like, I don't need those books. I'm past those books. I could recommend you a book, like self-help books. I can recommend you philosophy that meant a lot for me about my journey. Leo Tolstoy wrote a book called Anna Karenina, and it will fix your life when it comes to chasing your romantic relationships.
Okay.
But it's like an 800-page dense Russian literature. So like, are you going to get through it? I can recommend you the book, but like, are you going to actually do it and understand it and like put the time and the commitment to it? It might be a wasted recommendation. So I can't get you there. What I'll tell you about books is you have to find out what makes you curious, because that right there makes you so deadly, bro. Because most people go through the life and like, I don't want to think deeply, and I don't want to I just don't want to think. And as soon as you don't want to think and you don't want to learn and you don't care, I'm going to outcompete you mercilessly. And many other people just like me. The game in our culture is not muscle, it's mental. You have to be smart. You have to be wise more than you have to be smart. Smart, like everybody in this room is probably plenty smart enough to accomplish everything they want to in life. But wise is hard, and nobody is selling wise. They're selling books about get rich quick or like hacks. They're not people today. They don't write books about wisdom. You got to go to difficult books. And so wise is in rare. It's like a precious metal. There's not that much around. There's not that many people spewing wisdom. And so, but it's super valuable. And so it's harder to get. You got to go read difficult books. So learn how to find your curiosity, learn how to be a lifelong reader. I have a long book list on my website. A good book I will recommend after all that is 12 Rules for Life. Jordan Peterson wrote a great, that's like self-help, but it's fucking intense. He's not screwing around.
Now, where do you find all these like wisdom like books, right?
Yeah, that's a good question. 2 ways. Read books that were recommended by the people who wrote the smartest books that you've ever read. So go find a book read by somebody that's really smart, and you're like, okay, where did he learn from? And then go read those, and then go read, and then do the same for the author. And here's the other one: read books that were written. The older the book, the more valuable.
True.
Books written in 2019, do not read them. Books written in 2010, more valuable. Books written in 1900, very valuable. Books written in 1800, infinitely valuable.
No, wait, why do you say that? Since like people are like, oh, well, times change, people change, like.
Right. But the books, right. That's a good question, right? But the books that were written in 1800 that are still in print, there's a lot of books from 1800 that are gone.
Yeah.
Nobody cares because times change. Gone. The books that are still around, why?
They have valuable lessons in them.
Right. Why is a book from Nietzsche, from Dostoevsky, written in 1860? Why am I still reading it and telling you it's good? That joker who wrote that book can't make any money on it. There's no marketing dollars behind it, right? He's not making any money. It's still in print. Why? Why is it still in print? Why is Marcus Aurelius's meditation still popular freaking 1800 years later? Why is Sun Tzu still read today in military schools? Why? What's so good about it? Because the laws are the Bible, right? Very controversial, but yet it's still the most printed book. Why? What's in that book? What's in that 1,500 pages? What's in there that won't go away? If it was garbage, it'd go out of print. What's in those books?
True. Now you got me thinking to get like these deeper, go like look at all these like old ass books and like find what they. Yeah, I like that. Sami, what's your question? Go ahead.
So you say to like look into these older books, right? Are you mean like just books that focus on like how to think and like self-improvement, stuff like that? Or like does it apply to like real estate books too?
And, like, no, real estate, dude. I don't read real estate books. If you want to read real estate books, go read all the Bigger Pockets books. That's all you need to know. Like real estate, I'm so sorry. It's not that hard. Like buy a property and then wait. It'll make money.
Yeah.
Like it's not that complicated. I'm sorry. It's not that complicated. Problems of meaning and self-awareness and relationships and the infinite, like the timeless struggles of man, those are harder problems to solve. And so that's what I focus on. I focus on solving the hardest problems, and the easy problems they take care of themselves. Right? It's like when people die, like what are their regrets? They're like, I wish I traveled more. I wish I spent more time with my family. I wish I worked less. Right? Like these things. It's never like, I wish I made more money.
Yeah. And what's your thoughts on like traveling and all that? Like, do you ever
travel's the second highest return on investment?
Really? What do you? The thing I see a lot of people like either like yourself, right, Alex? There's people that are big players that say like, yeah, traveling is like looking at these rocks. I mean, they don't really obtain anything from it. Eat good food, look at rocks. I mean, what do you get out of traveling in that case? That's what I've been hearing. I'm like, I guess traveling. Me, I'm like, I mean, it's cool to go out, but how many waterfalls do you have to see until you're like, oh,
I don't know how many. I don't know how many have you seen?
I've seen none.
Actually. Well, then what the fuck do you know about waterfalls and how important they are?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm
like, this is the thing about travel. I just went to Iceland, right? Yeah. And they got waterfalls there, bro. They got waterfalls there like you wouldn't believe. They got waterfalls there that when you stand next to them, you get drenched and you're like 50 feet away. They got waterfalls that are so big, you realize that compared to Mother Nature, you are a speck of nothing, and she could take you out in a cocaine heartbeat, and it will humble you.
Okay.
Right? The world is big. The world does not look like America. The world looks like a whole bunch of other things. What about the people? Yeah. What about the people on another planet? What about when you find out when you travel that everybody on the planet is trying to do the same thing?
What is that same thing?
They're trying to live on their terms. They're trying to get by. They're trying to make meaning out of their meaningless existence. They're trying to stay healthy, happy. They're trying to maybe get ahead a little bit, right? They're trying to make their way. They're trying to do the same thing. They have the same basically resources as you. I mean, no, I shouldn't say it that way. They have the same problems as you in different ways. And so when you realize that not only are you not important and America ain't no different, everybody on the planet is the same way and they're all trying to do the same thing, it's a very humbling experience. Right. Okay. And then you travel. Guess what else you find out? You find out that if you live in America and you make $30,000 a year, you're in the top 1% global richest people that has ever existed. You're a top 1% earner if you earn $30,000 a year US. You're filthy rich and lazy and entitled. And that's good to know because then you come here and you work harder.
That is true. Now, how would you incorporate traveling into your, like, people like our daily life, right? Would you say like every year, once in a, like, how do you incorporate traveling into your life?
I went to Iceland in April. I just got back from a 7-day hike in Spain. I went 80 miles across the Spanish coastline called the Camino de Santiago. It's an 800-year-old Christian pilgrimage.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It was enlightening. I went 7 days without a cell phone and I learned about myself. It was good.
Okay.
And then I went to a wedding in Germany.
Nice. That's a lot of things he did there.
Yeah.
Now the thing is,
and it was probably like, the whole thing probably cost me less than $3,000.
Really?
Yeah. It's not expensive.
Well, what is isn't the most expensive part like just going from America to over there?
The plane.
Yeah.
Yeah. I stayed in hostels, $8 a day. It's nothing.
Oh yeah, I forgot that other countries do have hostels. We don't have that.
Yeah,
here.
dude. And places are cheap. We're expensive. Everywhere else is cheap.
Okay.
Like, dude, I don't go on vacation. I'm not telling you to go on vacation. I'm going to tell you to see the world. And the world is mostly poor.
Yeah, I know that.
Right. They're mostly poor. Go see the world. Go try to learn another language. Right?
Yeah.
Like, go see how the rest of the world works. It's very enlightening to find out where you are in the world, like what you actually are.
Okay. Here's a scenario, right? I get a ticket. I go to Germany, right? Okay. What do I do here? You know what I mean, I'm here. I guess I can look up the best places to go.
Yeah.
Is that what you do when you travel?
I went to Germany. I went for a wedding, but I have a World War II trip that I got planned for like 3 years.
Oh.
Yep. Landed on the west side of France in Saint-Mer, traveled from Saint-Mer to Paris, to Belgium, to Germany, to go see all the old, the Holocaust Museum, the Reichstag, the Führer bunker, all these places, and then go east to Poland and go to Auschwitz.
Are you ever going to go to Normandy where that was taken?
Yeah, that's on the list.
Okay.
Well, Saint-Mer. Yeah. I mean, it's where they dropped the paratroopers in.
Yeah. That's what, I guess like the sergeant major here, he was like, if you can go one place, go to that place. It gives you
go see the world. Go to South America. Go learn the language.
And now, do you go with other people or do you go by yourself?
I never go by myself. I hate being alone.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you for that. And finally, Alex, where can people reach out to you?
God. I'm not that active on my blog anymore these days, dude. I'm kind of in a weird spot. I'm very easy to get a hold of. You can find me on Instagram at Alex Scott Felice. I have a podcast called From Military to Millionaire. I have a website called brokeisachoice.com where I have all of my deals listed. So if you want to know like my whole story about like how I found my deals, how I paid for my deals, what they make, it's all listed and very transparent, probably more than you're even be willing to read. I have a book club that you're more than welcome to join, called the Great Book Club of Alexandria. I relaunched my photo website. It's called Life and Lens.
Life Lens. Is it a website? It's a website, right?
It's a website. It's
Okay.
It's a little bearish, but we're adding to it daily.
What do you upload there?
My pictures and stories about my pictures.
Okay.
If you want any help, message me on Instagram. I'm easy to get a hold of.
Nice. Thank you, Alex. And we love having you here.
Yeah, I'm a talker. This podcast is way too long. I'm just letting you know.
I know.
I like it. I'm having fun. Everybody, I don't know if they're having fun or not, but nobody else is going to listen to it. And so if you're okay with that, then keep doing it. Like ask your questions, but I'm just letting you know. Nobody's going to listen to it.
It's mostly like, I guess, a personal thing and like everybody else here.
Then stick with it. I love it. I love the format. Not everybody's going to love the format, but fuck them.
I know. That's what I'm going with. I'm like, we're different. Spin the wheel, whatever, right? We're doing
I love it.
thing. And basically, I'm trying to get as many big players as I can. Shelby was like, I was like, hey, Shelby, you want to come to the podcast? She's like, well, I know other people that want to. I'm like, well, you're going to be here soon. I'm trying to get at least like everybody.
Dude, you ask good questions and you deep dive. And then because you don't have a 40-minute hard stop, you can ask real questions and you can actually talk about it. What happens is with the other podcasts is it's all shallow. It's all surface level.
What do you mean?
Because they're on a time crunch. So they can't ask and then deep dive and then ask difficult questions. So this is great. It's great.
Thank you. Do you have any advice like asking like deeper questions? Because I know I'm looking up like, hey, deeper questions or what kind of questions would I ask myself whenever I'm doing journaling, right? I'm like, okay.
Dude, are you genuinely curious?
Yeah.
If you're genuinely curious, then ask the genuinely curious question.
You ever think it might offend the person at all?
Who gives a fuck?
That's true.
What are you going to, no. First off, if you're not going to ask a hard question, because you're afraid of what they might say, then you can't be a good podcaster.
Okay.
You can't be a good interviewer. Your whole job is to ask questions. You can't be afraid of it.
Okay.
Secondly, everybody who comes on the show is going to be an egomaniac, and all they want to do is talk about themselves. So if you ask them about themselves, they're going to be happily answer.
Okay. No problem.
Be fearless, bro.
I got that now.
Be fearless.
Even if they're like, oh, fuck this, I'm going to leave.
Fuck yeah, great. It's good TV. Look at this little bitch. He couldn't even answer questions about him. If somebody can't answer questions about themselves, then they're too weak for your show.
Okay.
That's good TV.
I like it. Thanks, Alex.
Be fearless, bro. What are you going to do? You're not going to ask. I mean, look, are you asking douchebag questions? You're asking genuinely authentic questions.
I'm asking genuinely authentic questions.
Well, then what? What are you going to offend somebody? They're so delicate. They can't, no.
They just find it. I'm assuming, all right, this is just me assuming, because, okay, before that, right, you got, can you mention all the websites that you would go to like do the personality test?
Oh yeah. All the personality tests. You want to do Myers-Briggs, that's the popular one.
Myers-Briggs.
You want to do Big Five.
Big Five.
Here's what you do. If you have some time and you really want to do this, this will carry you. Do this exercise. You go to a website and you do Big Five, you do Myers-Briggs, and you do there's like one or two other ones. Hold please. Watch this.
Can I look them up while
yeah.
Okay.
That's what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
Enneagram.
What are they called?
Enneagram.
Yeah, I have it on my screen.
And if you have $55, do the Colby.
Colby.
It costs money. It's $55. Somebody paid for mine, so I'm not saying I recommend it, but
Colby personality test. Well,
yeah, DISC, Enneagram, DISC, Myers-Briggs, and Big Five. Now, here's what you do. You ready for this? If you really want to do this, you take all of them, you write down all the results, you share them with your friends, right? You make sure they understand who you are. And you're like, hey, does this sound like me? Does this? And then they're going to tell you, here's who you are and here's who you're not, right? Then what you do, because you're really committed to this and you're only gonna have to do it like once, but here's what you do, because you're super committed, you go to a different website and you take all the tests again, because they're going to give you a different explanation for what they are and what they mean.
Okay.
So you do all 4 tests and then you do it the same test, but from a different website, and they'll be like kind of the same, but you'll get much different sort of explanations. And then you'll have a deeper understanding of what it all means.
Okay.
And then we'll do it. And then you guys all get your results and we'll talk about it if you want.
Nice. Do you want to do it now or do you want to do?
No, fuck no. I don't want to do it now.
God, you're like, we can all talk about it. That's on you.
I'm just saying, you call me later. Call me back.
Okay.
It's going to take you guys probably 2 hours.
Yeah.
To do the tests, to do all of them, and then read all the things, and then go do it all again somewhere on a different site. Okay. But that will give you a lot of insight into how you work in the world and how other people work on the world and how you're different. It's not about finding out necessarily who you are. It's finding out about how everyone is.
Okay, that's kind of confusing now. Like, isn't it just finding who you are first and then?
Well, you're going to find out who you are and how that makes you different from everybody else. You're like, okay, what am I and what am I not? And because other people are different in different ways. Okay. And so you're going to find out, you're like, well, I don't like extroverts, or I don't like people who are super agreeable. Like, people who are super agreeable do not like me. Because they're like, he's so harsh. And I'm like, yeah.
I mean, that's a good part about you. You tell the truth. I'm like,
motherfucker, you don't mind. Other people don't like it. And so it's good to know that there's some way that I'm not compatible with. And then they avoid me. I don't even have to do anything. They avoid me.
That's funny.
But that's good to know, because then if you're like wondering, oh, that person doesn't like me. Why? It's like, because they don't like anybody who's like me. It's not me. It's my personality type. So I'm not offended.
Okay. Yeah. Again, well, I'll take the Colby test, actually, the personality test. I took like a weird ass fucking like one on like I just looked up personality test and like some weird one showed up. I was like, this is kind of weird. It's something like that. What is it?
Yeah,
a random website would give you, but I'll take the Colby one. Actually, you said this one's like $50.
It's $55. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
The A. Take the A. The Colby A.
Colby A. That's fine.
They have like 5 different. They have like a bunch of different kinds. Yeah.
And
that's that.
this one's a good one. You said.
Yeah. So assessments
Where's that at?
on the top,
Oh, okay.
right? And it'll have like A, B, C, D. You want to take the A?
I have a lot of tabs up here. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, you do that later,
Okay. Yeah.
and then we'll talk about it later if you want.
Got it. Okay. Thank you,
I
Alex, for coming.
and I recommend everybody does it, but
Yeah, I want to make sure all these guys do it, and let's see what their personality test is, or like how they are. But yeah, thanks, Alex, for coming on. Any last words before you go?
Last words, dude. You have a weird way of saying things sometimes. You fucking trip me out.
God.
Nobody, don't ask somebody if they have last words. Goodness gracious, that's
God.
so morbid. And then yesterday, oh my God, this guy, I'm gonna make fun of you. Check this out.
What? Oh no.
What did you say to me? You said, hey, I got my internet fixed. You said, oh, I can't wait to have you tomorrow.
Yeah.
I mean, I know what you mean, but that sounded so
sus.
Yeah, I'm like, you're not gonna have me. What does that mean?
What
I'm so excited to have you.
God.
Dude,
okay, that's what I mean. I suck at communicating, right? I'm like, oh, I guess I'll just send this, right? I'll just send like a weird ass
dude,
emoji.
don't think twice about it. It's funny. Like everybody has idiosyncrasies. It's fine. I'm just teasing you.
Okay, because I was reading the like switch, right? And I was saying like at the end,
I
like,
hate that book. I hate that.
Why do you hate that? Why do you hate it? Okay, it actually told me like, hey, I'm doing things wrong. Okay, at the end, it was like, whenever you're texting people, they might get it out a different way.
Yeah.
So why do you hate it? Why do you hate it?
That book, let me tell you something. That book is for like friendship 101.
Yeah.
I'm like and the problem is I'm like on friendship level, like I'm teaching the doctorate level friendship now.
I know.
And so I'm like the like switch. I'm like, I hate this book so much.
God.
Dude, look, doesn't matter what I like. Doesn't matter what I like. Look, read it, take what's useful, and then go get better.
That's what I'm doing right now. I'm
yep,
getting
you're gonna do great.
Getting all the books. But yeah, thanks, Alex, for coming. I'll leave you be now. I'll leave you be now. All right, guys. That's gonna be the end. So I didn't even stop the recording yet. But yeah, I edit this, of course. And thank you, Alex.